This is The Extra Sheep, the unofficial Age of Empires 4 podcast, hosted by myself, Socerton, along with Beale and Sir Nevels, who held down the fort last time for the first live episode. That turned out pretty good, guys, didn't it? I was really impressed. Sad I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
It was really fun. Wasn't expecting the large EGC raid, but
that helped.
We pulled it off.
If anyone is listening to the podcast because they discovered us through that, welcome in. We have been the only Age of Empires 4 podcast for quite some time now. I think there was another one at one point, but we're the only ones who've been sticking with it. Every other Tuesday, we've got a new episode for you. We're actually doing a good job now of putting them on YouTube too. My wife isn't spearheading that one, so big shout out to Miniru. She has spearheaded the YouTube. She's the one who really has had the time at home to get those uploaded. Takes a surprisingly large amount of time to get that going. If anyone's listening because they found us through that, welcome in. Hopefully we got some good exposure. That was wild. 1,500 people. That had been your biggest stream ever too, huh, Beale? I don't think you've ever had more viewership than that.
Yeah, no, I've never. That's the max viewers I've had.
I know you and I have both been like up to like 150, couple maybe 100 or 200.
Yeah, 100 or 200 raids, but yeah, never
1,500.
Never 1,500.
I was thinking about it. We should probably do another live. I don't think every single time should be a live one, but maybe every now and then, maybe like once a quarter, we could do like a live episode. Maybe every couple.
Yeah. Every EGC tourney, let's do a live, like right close.
There we go. Right after the tourney. There we go. Someone thinking it's
that's how you do it.
Wrap up stream.
They're like, oh, they're back on again. Okay.
It's the way to do it.
Sit here and start talking until.
That's usually when I get raided. If I ever get raided with a big raid, it's usually right after. It's usually on like a Saturday or Sunday, right after Rising Empires is done. They'll sometimes send people my way, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I think I hit one time at the raid. It felt good. It's actually I started going. I was like went from playing decently to immediately terrible. Yep. So I was like, oh god, I know what to pay attention to. It's fun though. It's good.
Yeah, the first couple of times that I got hit with like 100+ people in a raid, I just lost the game entirely. Just freaked out.
The first time is so hard.
Playing Loela Legends. Welcome in.
Yeah, without fail.
That's how we were. This last Sunday we went live. Like when we got raided, we immediately got nervous. We're like, hey guys, how are you?
We promise we're a professional style podcast. We've been doing this for at least 6 months now. We're not greenhorns here.
I know, right? I think we are pretty experienced in the game now.
I would say we're getting there.
We're experienced podcasters.
Experienced podcasters, pretty experienced players, I'd say too. Like maybe we don't perform at like the highest levels, but I would argue that our overall knowledge base is there, you know?
Experience for sure. Knowledge and experience, I think we're there.
Execution
we're working on.
We're the best backseat drivers, is what we're really saying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man!
I would trust me. You guys are coaching. Oof! Oh yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. I have got like a somewhat of an outline. I'm excited to get so preview this episode here. We're going to be talking about a lot of news. Obviously, the big news is that the Byzantines have been confirmed. They had the trailer release, which confirmed that, as well as a bunch of Civ variants. And I just want to say, before we really dive into that, we called it. We called it. We did it. We did it. We called all of those. I mean, we knew that the top 3 civs would most likely be Japan, Byzantines, and then maybe a Nordic civ. We got those top 2, right? Mm-hmm. Done. And then we were talking many times. We've mentioned maybe variant civs, maybe like an alternate French, an alternate, and
like HRE, that good stuff.
Getting it. I mean, that's huge. I think that really does. We didn't quite
predict the names, but we got close.
Well, and that's been the big controversy right now. Now that people just cannot be pleased, and we're going to talk about this too. The names have been getting people a little bit up in arms, but I'm just kind of sitting there like I just don't even care. I don't care yet. I'll wait to see how they actually play and function before I really weigh in whether I love it or not. But I'm just happy to get the content, man. I mean, what a great day to be an Age of Empires player.
Oh, that's going to be. I wonder. What do you think the player base? You think the player base is going to increase by? I think it's going to increase by a decent margin. It already has. I have a Reddit post. Sneak peek here. I've got a Reddit post showing that we're already up. I think 14% on player base. Oh yeah, it's going crazy.
It's already going. I think
everybody taking the 14th off of November.
Dude, if I
what day does it land on? What is that land on?
When does that land? Let's take a look. So November the 14th, I'm looking at my calendar right now, is a Tuesday. Oh, come on, guys.
Ooh. Oh, that's awkward. Yeah.
That's a whack day. I'm not taking a Tuesday off for this. Oh, I've even played D&D that night too. I'm booked that night. I won't even get to play it. I'll have to wait for Wednesday the 15th to actually play. Gosh.
I'm thinking about taking that Tuesday off.
You're going to take the day off, huh?
I'm going to get a little boo-boo stomach, call in. Be like, I don't know what happened.
See, I work for a hospital. If I do that, I have to wear a mask for a week, and I'm like, they have to check me out, and it's even though I'm just in an office.
Listen.
Yeah. So I can't fib that one.
So, yeah, dude.
That's what I got to do. Oh boy. Well, yeah, we called it though. And obviously, my last Reddit post is actually the one I had. I astroturfed a Reddit post, had Caleb do it. I have that was my last Reddit post today as well. Just kind of be trying to promote us that we've brought you guys for 6 months now quality content, and we have gotten things right with our guesses. That means we've got a thumb on the beat of where this game's going. We understand this game, right? Because we got it right. We nailed it. I mean, Sir Nevels with the absolute hopium for years that we were going to get some Civs. That came through. I wasn't too sure. But then all the guesses we've had, a lot of guesses, and we even got that landmark right. That it'd be the floating gate, right?
That was
Japan.
good.
We got that right. We've been on it. We have been on top of it. And someone on that Reddit post, by the way, accused us of having inside knowledge. Oh yeah, there's been a version that content creators have been working and playing with for months now. And I was like, what the heck? No. So to clear the record, first of all, we are the unofficial Age of Empires 4 podcast. That means we do not get paid for this. We do not have any kind of inside knowledge. Everything that's coming this way has been by our own volition and our own efforts. So just want to clear the air there. Unofficial. I'd love to be official. We don't know how to do that yet though. So
yeah, that'd be cool.
All right, enough tooting our own horn. I'll probably toot it more later. But in the meantime, let's get to our Age of Empires news. Boy, where to start with that, huh? Let's talk about Byzantines, huh? Let's start with that.
Oh, yeah.
Byzantines are confirmed. What do we know? What do we know so far? We don't know much. We know about as much as we know about Japan, right?
I don't think we know much, but it's a lot to speculate on. We're clearly getting a lot of fire in the game.
Fire rams? That looks kind of cool.
I think fire ships, too. I think demolition ships are not going to be with the Byzantines. It's going to be fire ships.
That sounds
How are you going to balance that? Because the thing with demo ships is they're cheaper, but they explode. That's the
maybe
rock paper scissors.
Well, because the demolition ships have an AoE effect. They kind of blow up everything around them. Maybe fire ships kind of have a more centered. Maybe just balance it to where they are you can't really. They're strictly to take out sprinkle ships. Just burn down sprinkle ships. You can't really get AoE damage around it, where you can get two demo ships.
Okay, so they're more expensive, but they're legit anti-demo sprinkled ships.
They're more precision rather than AoE.
They're a little because the demo ones blow up, but I would assume it'd take longer to kill a sprinkled ship with a potential Greek fire ship,
but possibly more reliable. Because I feel like demo ships are so weak. It's really a crapshoot if you're going to get it landed or not.
Yeah, demo ships are not from the game first launched, dude. Those things were nuclear bombs.
Dude,
but
they really were.
When they got nerfed, dude, they really just serve a purpose. They're really just they're like paper boats now, little newspaper boats, that your dad would make after going out to spaghetti factory. They take the newspaper and make a little spaghetti, make a little those little menus. That's a really odd memory. Big paper. Why is it that dads can always do that? I don't know how to do that. I never learned how to make one of those paper hats out of a newspaper. Or those little boats they make. But that's how demo ships feel to me, though. They feel paper thin. Yeah, dude, aero ships just one volley of arrows.
Yeah,
dude, it's over.
Insane. You got more than two of those things.
You got the micro your demo ships heavy. But they are strong, though. They feel because if you get in between, if you get them near some sprinkler ships, those sprinkler ships are done for. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
But just getting them there. If there's any aero ships in the area.
The nice thing about demo ships is that you can hit on rivers and stuff like that, like a confluence, for instance. You can use them against land units if you time it right, and that can be devastating.
Yeah,
I think demo ships go into Sapahi pretty well.
Land units now?
I was watching the Call to Arms today, and I'm pretty sure I saw them go into Sapahi pretty dang well. So I think it depends on the unit.
It was instant kill. Like a whole military is instant kill.
I don't think it's quite that. I think it depends. I think the heavier units can take one. I think the if you got like trash army, I think it's going to get wrecked.
That makes sense.
But I think archers have. Do archers have bonus damage against demos, or is it just archer ships?
I don't know. Maybe just fishing. I think it's just. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, like land unit versus naval unit combat is still something I don't see a lot of. Like I was playing on Golden Heights earlier today, and I had a scout just start torching an enemy fishing ship because he was taking the shoreline fish. And I was like, I've never seen a scout fight fishing boats before.
That's an odd.
It's like doing a lot of damage
segment. That'd be a fun segment, like the rarest matchups you see in regards of unit on unit. I think most of them would be like water on like land. Those are probably the rarest. I mean, it always feels weird, you know, like you ever get like an odd game where you're on warring islands, heaven forbid, where you got like bombards shooting down boats from the coast. Like get some weird matchups every now and then.
I don't think I've ever played that map. I do remember in AoE 2, mangonels were insane against ships. If you could get mangonels on the coast, they just chew through ships.
English Trebs with shattering projectiles aren't too bad. If you get that and you get geometry, they're not bad against ships because they've got the range, so they can usually keep hitting them. So a bunch of English Trebs can sometimes slightly hold off some naval things.
Like I think where they kind of outrange it.
Yeah, they have the range is what gets it. Yeah. And they're not doing tons of damage, but they're just enough to keep them irritated.
If I can ask, how would you guys want if they did have it? Because I have a feeling they will put Byzantine fire ships. I don't that's kind of what they're like known for, the Greek fire. How would you want to implement it? Would you want it to be how would you like it against ground units? I mean, would you want it to do bonus damage
over time? Sort of. I don't know. Bonus.
Yeah, because they catch on fire. They catch on fire, so they kind of stay.
Oh, what about bonus damage against docks?
See, that'd be sweet. That makes sense too.
That'd be kind of neat. I would like that, especially if they have low armor.
Slightly worse against springled ships than demos, but like a little better than docks because I think it is 4 demo ships equals enough damage to take down a dock. I think that's the calculation. Okay. But if you had like a couple of just a Greek fire ship focus firing on a dock for a little bit, I think that's a good bonus that ship could have.
Yeah, would you want them to replace the demo ships or have both of them?
Replace. I think.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
Yeah. I think I get very worried when you give, especially with water right now being what it is. Water feels balanced, but I say that with like an asterisk on it. That it's very.
I think water's amazing.
It's in a good spot. I think overall. We've talked about the problems that water can have. I think right now it's in a good spot because that rock paper scissors is very, very like in stone. So if you were to give someone an extra ship that others don't have, that'd be the only unique ship, I think, that because you usually have 3 options, right? Up until Imperial Age. So, you've got the archer ship, the demo ship, the sprinkled ship. That's it. So if you were to add an extra ship on top of that, that would be a huge advantage just in a matter of diversifying your military.
Yeah, in feudal anyway. I know Ottomans get their because you get the beefy warships in Imperial.
Yeah.
But Ottomans get a pretty beefy warship in Castle. And they also get a floating military school ship, which is like a transport ship that's slowly filled with garrison slots over time. With it just creates units.
I don't think I've ever actually looked at Ottoman water.
I don't see too much of the military ship. Wait, so this spawn free? How does a military ship work? Like a military school ship?
So I've only used it once. One time I was playing Ottomans on, I think it was Confluence, and I was like, whatever, this is a quick match. I've never seen this unit used before. So it's the Grand Galley, and you can transform it into a military school, and then then you can sort of set what units it creates, like a regular military school. And then they just spawn, but they're garrisoned in the ship. So you have to unload it on the shore.
Oh, Oh, okay. I've never seen anybody use that before.
Well, I can't remember the last time I've seen Ottomans on water, to be honest. I mean, that's just not a Civ
that's crazy. I think it's because
much Ottomans on water. They just don't have really good eco for it overall. I feel like it doesn't really fit what they're trying to do. I mean, because the best water Civs are still Rus, HRE, China, I guess, is up there, and then maybe English at number
China
4.
For sure.
China, I think those are the top. Those are the I think unquestionably the top 4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Ottomans on a water map. I can't wait for watering holes to get back into the ranked map pool.
I like watering holes.
Because Ottomans on that, you drop a barracks and then you drop a military school and you just flood them with Dark Age spearmen and you just deny the docks, basically. Mm-hmm. And then you can build your own and deny the initial dock drop for your opponent. Make them waste all that wood and then get your...
I hate that so much. It happens to me.
Yeah, get your fishing eco going up while they try to recover.
Yeah, I think Ottomans are good on hybrid maps. Like when there's land and water, I see them more played.
Yeah, a very hybrid map that was like that, especially anything that has rivers on it. Like if you're nothing that has deep sea, I think of Confluence, Ottomans are viable. Trying to think of some others. Maybe a Mongolian Heights. They could be viable, they could perceivably deny other people's water. Because at that point, you're working at denying water for everyone else, not just taking it yourself entirely,
Right. If it's a map where you can drop a mill near some near shoreline fish and basically get the fish eco that way, that's fine. Because you are going to go wide for map control as Ottomans. Yeah. So that can make up for the fact that you get really no bonuses on water.
So what do you guys think the Byzantines will rank as a hybrid? I think Byzantines would be a good hybrid Civ.
I can see that. I can see them being very similar to Ottomans in that regard. I guess the big question is what are they going to look like as a Civ identity, right? And we had the kind of a screenshot. I think this is my Socerton prediction. I'm pretty sure there's going to be something to do with aqueduct. That was kind of something that they were known for, that old Roman technology, that was still kind of a hangover from, the classical age, right? I think they'll have something to do with things like that. I feel like I saw someone on a Reddit post. I could be wrong, or maybe you guys mentioned it. Maybe I said it. I don't remember. I feel like this would be the kind of Civ that would be very stone heavy because of that. Imagine needing an aqueduct using stone to get resources, or they need to take up stone to build their economy up or to build certain items, which I don't know if that's for sure. I think I saw a discussion about that and I thought that'd be really interesting to see. Because that's something that would be unique to the game. I don't think any other Civ relies on stone.
I feel like that'd be awesome if they had a Mesoamerican Civ. Like Mayans and Aztecs, definitely very stone heavy civilizations, like stone and some sort of obsidian. I don't know. But if there was a Civ that would be stone heavy, those should be that.
Yeah. I mean, real boys, not the brightest bulb in the pack. What exactly? I see aqueduct is basically a channel of it's a water supply. What exactly would it do for the game? What is an aqueduct really? I don't really know.
So I mean, an aqueduct, in real life, right, is moving water from one place to a drier place, right? So, the Romans had the aqueducts back in the day that just kind of slowly let the basically just keeping your own little water river to where you need it. In California, you've got the really big aqueduct because it's super dry out there. We got all the rivers that are in the mountains. They have lots of stuff. It's just bringing water in to make your land more fertile, so you can actually grow crops.
So is that I would imagine in the West where there's a not really official water supply? You guys kind of have to get your water.
Exactly. Because we're not getting enough rain. We have to bring it in. Exactly. And if you think about where the Byzantines are, it's very Turkey. My stepdad actually was out there in the military for a year, and he was telling me, I never thought of this, but Turkey has a very similar climate to California, Southern California in particular, because on the coast, because they call it a Mediterranean climate, and it's true of both Southern California and, of course, areas around the Mediterranean. And it's usually dry, hot, but you get some humidity from the coast, but not enough to really, be enough to do some serious farming. So I would imagine that if they had an aqueduct, which I think in the screenshot, it looked like there was something that looked like that. I would imagine it would do some kind of economical bonus, because with that you'd be getting eco bonuses. I think you have to invest in it.
Idea. Okay, I got a question too. Okay, you might be saying, I think you're going to say the same thing. I don't know if you are, because I'm thinking of something like what these were used for.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're all speculating. So.
All right. So what I was going to say is, so every Civ has influence mechanic, and Aqueduct is going to be the thing that spreads that influence mechanic through that. Like, so just probably some sort of bonus to food gathering rates.
That's what I would suspect.
Or farms, or the olive groves that we also saw in one of the screenshots. Could be connected to that. But I think whatever the aqueducts are going to do, they're going to be implemented into the influence mechanic.
Yeah, and I feel pretty good that is what that was in the screenshot. I feel like that is not. We can't say it's confirmed, but I feel like 70% confident in saying that that's probably going to be the mechanic that's in the game. I would just a speculation, but hey, we've been right about a lot before, so you can trust us here when we say we're feeling pretty good about this. I think Beale's on the money there. I do think it'll be something like that, unless we're completely off base, and in which case, who knows? But
okay, boys, I'm seeing this. Okay, what if? Okay, and you tell me if I'm describing an aqueduct correctly. But like, what if this thing? So I'm seeing these like chain of aqueducts leading to this like little like fountain from the screenshot. What if like you connect that aqueduct to like on a hybrid map the water, and
I wonder about that. That was one thought I had.
You like almost get like some type of food influence. I mean, I guess you can't fish because it's just water. But like, what if like, I mean, you have to survive on water as long as food also. What if that like is a way to hydrate? So like you said, some kind of influence system where like you have like almost like the like a chain. Like you have to keep this like line of aqueducts in like together to make an influence. And if they're all together, so like basically the way you would defend that is just breaking that chain. But if you keep a chain of these little aqueduct walls to your water, you have bonus food from the water by keeping, or maybe it'll just move faster from being hydrated.
Yeah, it could be a number of things, right? Who knows what that influence could be? I think the interesting thing about that idea is I don't know if that would, but the one thing is that would very much limit it to it has to have water on the maps, right?
True. We haven't seen a unique building or landmark that is specific to water.
Towards water. That's my only hang up. Yeah.
Why Arabia exists.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true.
I mean, I think it'd be interesting to have like
have no trade outposts with trade landmarks. So like, I mean, maybe it would suck.
That's true.
Maybe I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm saying like, I would have seen like maybe as a dual purpose for just land, but I don't know what that would serve as. Yeah. But
I would suspect that the aqueducts will just be like presume that it's bringing water from somewhere else. That's my guess, but I do think it will be. I think Beale definitely is on the money. I think there'll be some kind of mechanic that gives you an economic boost with that, and I think it'll cost stone to build. So I think that'll be a very important part of that Civ is building the stone to get that, or maybe stone and wood. Who knows? Maybe a combination. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen.
I've got a development. I'm looking at this picture right now.
Yeah.
So. Okay, I can see the fountain right side of the screen. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, I need to
look at those orange groves.
Can you take a look at the top left. Put that link in the Discord for me. I need to look at that myself too. I'm going off memory here. I was looking at it earlier, but
that building, the top left, like I'm looking on Google, so I see it highlighted.
That looks like a fountain too. Yeah. That looks like the same building. Okay. What's next to both of those buildings? A mill surrounded by those olive groves. So maybe the aqueduct. You can bring it over, put it next to like one of your mills that's surrounded by farms, and then turn it into olive groves.
Ooh, and then now we're getting somewhere.
It boosts your farm output somehow, and like changes that.
Look at the screenshot too. If you guys, for everyone at home, if you look, I mean, I would definitely suggest looking this up. But yeah, this aqueduct.
There's one on the top right.
There's one on the top right as well. It's all connected.
You can see the mill and the olive groves.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one in the center top, one in the top right, one in the top left, and then one down right center. I'm thinking that they look like little. They don't look like. They look like they're clearly made out of stone, I think, is one thing I want to know. That's 100%. Clearly stone, and it's clearly different. I'm betting that is a huge mechanic.
Big time.
I mean, that's taking up about 60% of the screenshot,
You think Byzantine might be more of a base building type civ? Maybe base building.
Maybe base building, stone use, but then I mean, I'd be curious what kind of units they have as well. Also, I love the purple for this. You know, like certain civs kind of just lend themselves to certain colors. Like French deserve to be blue. You know, blue or teal. English looks good in red. Ottomans, I feel like always are green. HRE tends to look really good in yellow. I feel like this is definitely a purple civ right here. This is definitely a purple civ.
Right. They've only showed them in purple.
Yeah, they look good.
Purple is good. Purple
looks good. It looks good.
And that's a first because I think purple is not. That's like my least favorite color.
I was like purple. What civs do I normally associate with purple?
I don't think any yet right now.
Yeah,
not really. No, this is a good one for that because I think China I usually think of as like red or maybe red or blue. Usually one of those main two.
Red.
HRE is the yellow for sure. Mongols I always think of the light blue or green.
Mongols, I think straight up blue with Mongols is weird. I like
Mongols blue. Yeah, that works.
I feel like anytime I feel like any civ color, like the color of the flag, that's usually what
kind of what it leans towards. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
Because I use English, I use red.
Yeah, Delhi looks really good as like a green.
Green looks good with Delhi.
Abbasid kind of could be whatever. I've seen Abbasid is purple quite a bit.
See, me, I always go yellow with Abbasid.
Oh, interesting.
It's weird, yeah. But like Byzantine, the flag in the game is purple. So that makes sense.
It's the purple looks good because with like kind of like that like blue topped domed roofs that they've got for the towns there. It looks the purple's good. If anyone who's gonna pick this stuff up, I highly recommend. The purple looks very
I think purple's the move. Purple's the move.
Anyways, yeah, I think there's aqueducts. I think I'm speculating again. I think it's a stone based structure, or maybe stone and wood, or maybe some combination. And I definitely think that those fountains at the end of the aqueducts are giving some kind of bonus, or going to give some kind of bonus to the farms.
Yeah, I think it upgrades them to whatever like those olive trees are.
That makes sense.
Or maybe it just gives an influence. I mean, it's hard to tell, but yeah, I definitely think
we'll see for sure.
There's definitely a mechanic that's going to be there.
Apparently, they're going to be announcing. They're going to be going more into the civil. I don't know if there's they said variants, but maybe these two also when early next week. So probably like between Monday and Wednesday, they'll probably be giving more details about everything. So that's going to be dope. But listen, boys. That's not even the coolest thing about this civilization. The dopest thing is I have a feeling is going to come are the Varangian guards.
Yeah.
That right there, dude. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Varangian guards.
I'm not.
You talked about them in like an older episode.
Yeah, it was like ages ago. That was like why you were so hyped for this. So go ahead and tell me.
Yeah.
Dude, they're like elite armored Vikings, dude. That were like mercenaries. I think they mentioned somewhere in the description of the Byzantine Empire, they're gonna have like, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they're basically going to have mercenary groups. And that was like the Virgin Guard played like a huge role as like personal bodyguards. They were very vital to like security of the Byzantine Empire, but they were like outsourced from like
mercenary guards. So are we thinking like temporary units or something, or
no? I'm thinking like they're about to be like unit? They're about to be like they weren't cavalry. I think they were literally just like infantry. Like they're gonna have. If you look at the screenshot, you see like these caped shit, like men with like capes and shields. Mm-hmm. Like they're running up the very center next to.
So if they're mercenaries, would they be like a gold only civ? Or gold only unit? Wouldn't that be interesting?
That'd be dope, yeah. Because they get hired in. But yeah, dude, I think these be some armored Vikings, that were very, very big, very vital to the security of the Byzantine Empire. I don't see how they would not.
Instead of a gold cost, like what if it was gold over time? Like it started just slowly draining your gold.
And you just got like a
subscription service?
Like if you couldn't pay for it, they just die on the field or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting.
That would be so hard to manage.
That would be really hard to manage. Yeah.
Hey, but sometimes that's how it is though. You gotta pay attention, even further. So like basically was like subscription. Like just like over time it's just like you're like was it like what like 50 gold a minute? Or
yeah,
I don't know
like
how much.
Maybe you'd pay like an upfront cost and then
I'm so sick of subscriptions, guys.
It would just start like ticking down I don't know, whatever. It would impact your gold income per minute or something.
Okay, that'd be pretty sweet.
Either taking a tax off of what you're mining or or just slowly draining it. And then if you couldn't afford it, they just die. Or, I mean, it'd be funny. It'd be wildly unbalanced, but it'd be funny if they turned against you. Like,
oh my gosh, that would be something.
That would be wild. Yeah. That'd be crazy. Like, you go broke and your whole military, they start hating your economy. You're like, wait a minute, whoa. You're like, God,
imagine being like, hey, whatever they're paying you, I'll pay a double, and just being able to buy away units from someone's civ. That'd be something.
That'd be crazy if you could barter mid-game with the enemy units. Like, listen,
gosh, like, hey guys, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this.
Like, your was just like I said, they couldn't convert units. They could just buy your units.
That would suck.
That would be horrible.
That would suck. That'd be so bad. Let's be.
What about Were cataphracts? Their cataphracts are big in the. Yeah. So I think cataphracts for sure.
So what were they historically? You're a resident historian on the Byzantines. What were they?
Believe me, I guess I do. I don't really know, but I've watched a couple of YouTube videos.
You know more than me, and I'm a pretty big history guy, but I think you know more than me on this one for sure. So let's hear the history lesson on cataphracts.
Well, basic cataphracts, I think they're just like so I'm not the most, but they're like basic, like they're armor, your heavy armor, like cavalry. That was with the I think with the Western and Eastern Roman Empire, because the Byzantine Empire is just the Eastern Roman part of the. It's just the continuation of the Roman Empire. Like pretty much when the West fell, the East just like continued on forever. So a lot of people are complaining about the Byzantines, saying like around the castle, Imperial age, that was like the end. That was like the end of the Byzantine. Like, you're about to, like, a lot of civilizations you're playing were on the rise. Were like, with the Byzantines, you were like playing them just on their fall, because they used to be like big dogs. But then like a lot of, pretty much like they had a lot of territory, and then they slowly started losing territories over time, to where eventually they just had Constantinople, which is like the New York City of that time. Like, it was amazing. Yeah. Like, it was very influential. But yeah, so like, I mean, the cataphracts. Oh, my fault.
The cataphracts. They were in Age of Empires 1, because they were like the Imperial elite knights in AoE 1, like the last stable upgrade you got turned your knights into cataphracts. But in AoE 2, they were the unique units of the Byzantines, and they were cavalry who didn't take anti-cavalry bonus damage. So spears did not do like extra damage.
That's terrifying.
So it'd be like crossbows would be your way to go then, huh? Crossbows would be the way to go.
No, any sort of anti-cavalry damage. Yeah.
Hopefully they wouldn't have a crazy. They'd have to have a lower attack then, right? They'd have to not be too heavy on the attack. They'd be slow tanks.
You had to train them out of castles instead of stables, so you couldn't mass them up easily. And they also, with a unique tech, did like area of effect damage. Like, they would damage units all around them when they attacked.
See, now that'd be a good way to balance them. Maybe make them a little slower too. I feel like they're really heavily armored. Like, their horses have armor too. Like, maybe make them have a little bit more health, a little beefier, but have lower attack. But but the interesting with like no counters, that's pretty interesting.
Right. I mean, like,
that'd be so annoying for raids.
Knights against them, because knights already have higher attack and higher
defense. Higher. Gotcha.
You got to out cavalry their cavalry.
I love that, guys. I'm so excited for this game right now.
It's amazing. So good. It'll be amazing. I'm so excited. And so what did they? So I'm looking right now. Good old Wikipedia. Like, they originated in Persia. So they're basically like modern day like Iran. I'm trying, because I think the Byzantines, like, their empire like actually did expand out to like what is modern day Iran. Like, do they? I
don't think they got quite that far. I think they took the Fertile Crescent in Iraq, I believe. I don't think they got past that though. Persia was always kind of a thorn in people's sides for some time.
Yeah, so like it's just crazy. I remember people said the HREs in the game, they don't need Byzantines, and I'm like, dude, what?
This is very different. This is a very different looking civ. I can see maybe some people going like, well, we got autos, but that's also not quite the same. Like, different regions here. Also, kind of on this, for the campaign, I'm really excited because we're getting an alternate civ for Abbasid to go along with this. Which is going to look really good. I think it's the Sultan's Army. There's some controversy on the naming conventions for it, but
we'll get into that for sure.
I mean, regardless, another civ to kind of a variation civ to kind of go along with this era and this region, I think is going to be so fun to see.
Most definitely.
I'm kind of excited for the campaign, honestly. Like that's excited to see that, and I'm really just excited to see these in the game.
So am I. I'm hoping they improved because they said there's going to be like hero units with abilities. So I'm really interested in if the campaign is going to play out a little closer to like StarCraft 2 or Warcraft 3 campaigns.
See, one thing about the campaign that kind of worries me, I feel like it's going to be, once again, like how it usually is. I feel like it's going to be a little fast because it seems like those campaigns only 8 missions.
Mm-hmm.
Like just one campaign with 8 missions. And they're trying to pretty much like cover like all of the oh my goodness, the Holy Wars, which was like 5 of them. They're like there's like a lot of crusades.
They have a lot of interesting scenarios, and it kind of fits. It does fit the theme with how they've been doing. Obviously, I don't think it'll be quite the style of campaign that you were kind of hoping for, Beale, with like StarCraft 2. But regardless, I mean, with the amount of content we're getting, I do think it's pretty exciting stuff that they're adding in.
And the best part about the whole thing, dude, it's $15. I was not expecting that.
We haven't even mentioned that. Yeah,
crazy.
$15
That's
is
crazy.
I was genuinely expecting a $20 DLC.
I think 25, 30.
20. I'd have forked out $40 for it. I really would have.
No problem. I would have paid it, no problem.
The brilliant thing about them holding back and going 15, the game is not going to be free to play, right? The game's not going free to play, but they're really good expansions. Only 15 more. I mean, that's pretty fair. I mean, I don't think anyone's upset by it. That's a price point that's like, I'll just, that's a lunch, right? That's someone's lunch. Yeah, that's easy.
Nothing. And I'm curious if they're going to drop the what they call the anniversary edition down to like $20 or $15 itself, so that you can pick up both of them for the price of like a normal video game.
$40, $50.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
that's a smart play.
That'd be great. That'd be good marketing. Literally. Or make a bundle, like like maybe a discount DLC. If you buy the game, you get DLC 15% off or something.
Look out for that. Well, and this is coming out right before Black Friday. So I mean, they're like, because they're giving themselves some time. That's going to come out the 14th of November. They've got like a week and a half, and then Black Friday's coming up. That Steam sale starts right then. Oh, it's like a gimme. This is going to bring in so many people to the game that maybe, especially if anyone out there has been on the fence about getting this game. Wasn't quite sure, thinking about it, but like maybe when it goes on sale, this is a must have now, right? Like this is missing out on this would just be killer.
I got a message to anybody on the fence about the game. Listen, stop being a coward. Let's go. What are you scared of? Let's go. We all had to go through the trial and error phase, man. We all had to go through the plunge of being bronze or silver and getting stomped on, but you prevail. You prevail to the other end, and at the other end is great. Like I think once you're around gold 3, platinum level, like you're just improving. You're no longer bad at the game. You're just trying to get better. Like you're like gold in plat area, you're good.
You're average. You're an average player of the game.
Yeah,
you know the game. You play the game. Yeah,
exactly.
You're not beginning. If anyone's out there,
you're not getting stomped on by anybody. Like you can still put up a good fight, but now you're at the learning phase. You're at the improving and learning phase, and we all had to go through the part where we got stomped on. But once you break out of it, it's nothing more satisfying than getting a win that you deserved and you got solely on your own. Mm-hmm. Stop being a coward. Buy the game. It's not expensive. You like RTS games? Come on over. We're very welcoming. Like you're trying to tell everybody that. And the player base is going up apparently.
It already has. A lot of that, I think, is returning players getting very hyped about things. I'll look at the actual numbers here in a bit. We'll take a look at the numbers. I've got that as one of our Reddit posts for after the break. But yeah, I think this is going to genuinely help. I mean, the game is. We've been saying it for a while. The game's in a good spot, and man, the game is just. It's just even the pros who are playing it are saying it's just going to get better. Everyone's feeling very bullish on the game right now.
I mean, think about it. Like, I mean, we're not even getting any details. I mean, it's first of all, like apparently there's 11 new maps. Like,
is it 11 now? Really?
So wow. 10. Our good friend Bitterlin, he confirmed in the chat. He said actually it's 11.
Wow,
no, that's a good source. He and it's not no leak. He said it straight up in the stream. He said 11 new maps. And then there's a bunch of updates coming to the game. I mean, think about it. These type of expansions don't just come without. It's gonna be an update overhaul of all types of problems. Who knows? What can be things that have been issues that they're gonna fix. I mean, we're just getting the full blown overview of the DLC. There's gonna be a lot more detail within it.
Yeah, you think about the season 5 patch and how much it added with like Ghazi Raiders, Ghulams, like how fresh it felt to have Keshiks, all these new unique units across the Civs, and how much that changed things. Like, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of reworks to the existing Civs as well coming with this expansion.
Yeah, well, those variants in particular are going to be very massive, and it opens the door to having every Civ having a variant. You know, I mean, they're starting with I think it's what is it, 6 variants?
4 of them.
4 variants and 2 new Civs.
Right, 4. Yeah,
because it's 6 total.
6.
And how different those play, it's hard to say. But I like that they're calling them variants and not new Civs. I like that they're being very like basically it's a new Civ and here's a variant. I think that's a much better way of doing it than, like, for instance, Age of Empires 2 that just had like a million factions that, you know, everyone kind of knew there's like a couple Civs and it's just very slight differences. This is a good way of doing this. This game, I think this update, I'm assuming it's going to go off really well. This is basically, I think, going to put AoE IV as a better game than Age of Empires 2. And I think that's going to become almost an objective. I think it's going to be objective. I think that's going to be an objective fact. I think before, it was still a case for Age 2. After this update, especially with the way things are going and the way I think this game is just in pretty much every way better now. And I don't say that lightly, you know, because I've got a lot of respect for Age of Empires 2. But this game,
as we all do.
This game, though, is just taking it to a whole new level, and the devs deserve the utmost credit for it. They didn't. We talked about it a month ago that we didn't love how hush hush they'd been for the whole time, and they really could have maybe managed the community just a bit better. But at least when it comes down to being a development team, if you're going to do something right, at least do the development part right. And I think so far they have done that.
And
over the past year, anyway.
Yeah, over the past year, yes. Since the launch, at least, yes.
But like, I think, like, Sock, I 100% agree with you. I think this game is going to be the objective. It's going to be the objectively standard of AoE IV. But AoE, but I think there's still going to be a lot of people not.
There'll still be people saying that this game's trash, but they'll be wrong.
You can't rate a game objectively better. Than
true, that of course.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But
we're still going to do it.
We can't do it, but we're going to do it. Yeah. Both games do play just differently enough that it is. Like, if you really like the fact that you can dodge arrows and you can house wall your villagers and all that stuff.
Cool. Good for you. Awesome. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. But listen, AoE 2 are cousins. They're actually, man, they're big brothers. I think they're big bros, dude. They're
little bros growing up real fast is all I'm going to say.
Real fast. We got a lot of protein in our diet. We're getting real. We're growing big.
Taking their vitamins, and it's looking good.
Taking our vitamins. It's looking real good. And think about it, too. Like, I seen a post of somebody saying, like, well, the variant Civs aren't technically real Civs, and technically we're just getting 2 new Civs. And I just think about it, like,
we're still getting 2 new Civs and then variants.
And then how I look at it, I'm just like, this is not going to be the only expansion. Like, you want to save some wiggle room for some more. We still got a Nordic Civ. We still got, like I said, I always mess his word up. You said it great, Bill. Mezzo Civ.
Yeah.
There you go. American, get some M4s on the field. And then, then we got, you got Spain, Poland. The world
Spanish
was very
Civ.
big.
I would love to see a Spanish Civ. I think that's very much something that we should get. Or Polish Civ. I'm not as hot on a Polish Civ.
I want to see I'd rather have. I
think
they look so dope in AoE too.
I genuinely think we'd get the Danes before we'd get that.
Me too. I agree. Or maybe they come with the Danes and Poland. I don't know what that had to do, but I don't know. We'll figure that's for another time. That's for another time. But I'm just saying, like, man, this is so. I told you, this game is young. This is a young RTS game. It's got so much potential. And it's wonderful. We're watching it grow up before our eyes. We're like uncles, just like look at him, look at him get so old. Oh, look how it's getting so old now.
I mean, it is insane, like how every single update over the past year has just been an amazing update to the game.
Yeah,
there hasn't been anything like. There hasn't been any steps backwards. It's always been.
There really hasn't. Because I remember about a year ago,
minor things.
About this time last year, the trade problem was starting to just emerge and become a bigger and bigger issue, right? Mm-hmm. And leading into like late fall, winter, like trade was a huge issue. They fixed that like back in January. With the season 4 update, I think it was.
Season 4 or 5, I can't remember. Yeah. But it was a good amount of time.
4 or 5, might have been 5 because I think we started the podcast in 4. So like by spring they had fixed that. I mean, Beale nailed it, man. Every time they've updated the game with something substantial, it's been good. I mean, they fixed the siege meta from back at launch way a while ago.
Oh
now.
Yeah, big time.
Like every time they have, it's been good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something you can't say for a lot of games. A lot of games,
right?
Like, I mean, like for example, I was playing Diablo 4, and their first update pretty much killed the entire fan base. And like, like a lot of games are taking like a long time to just get the resurgence. Like they've been out longer than AoE or around the same time, and like they're. I mean, I'm just thinking. I mean, I hate to always bring out the games, but like, I mean, you look up like Battlefield 2042, Halo Infinite, and those fan bases are kind of like just. It took so long, and it's been like every update was kind of like instead of trailing up or down, it kind of just remained stagnant, not doing too much for the game. Where every AoE 4 update has literally pretty much just made the game better. I mean, as far as like casting games, viewing them. I mean, unit variants got even more variant. Like, I mean, what was it, season 4 or 5 that actually like changed the way so many civilizations play, like landmark updates. And like, I mean, if you look at like the early Abbasid and look at them now, like they don't play anything alike, just like the way, or even like Mongols. Like it's just so many. Listen. As long as the game is trailing up, that's all you can say. Like that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like whether it's slow or faster, which I prefer slow and steady. I know sometimes like, I mean, maybe it's a little thing with me where I can like wait. I will agree that the devs have been very quiet. But once they finally spoke, they spoke with a capital SPOKE.
Yeah. Again, they did it when it came to the things that matter. They did the things that mattered, right? Because I'd rather have really excellent content coming out and maybe not the best community management, as opposed to great community management with then terrible content. That's exactly what happened to Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had an amazing community manager. Great. They had always had community updates. They were always like sending, or they called them community transmissions, because Star Wars. They were always up to date on stuff, but then like they got cut. Everything just got cut because they just didn't have the development to go with it. And that was just awful. Whereas this has been a bit like a flip side for me to see the opposite be true, like nothing on the community side, like at all. But then, I mean, when they do pop out with the new content, it has just been, it's been everything we could hope for. I mean, I can't think of a lot of the problems we had with the game. We've been saying this for a couple months now in a row. They're just gone, right? A lot of things are fixed. I mean, obviously they can still fine tune.
Say a lot of people in the back. I don't think you can hear you.
A lot of the bugs. Wait, I got to take it. A lot of the bugs are fixed.
You guys hear that? Okay, we'll make sure.
So I want to throw something out. One of the big things, I was so excited to see that this was going to be an actual expansion. Oh
yeah.
Despite the price point, 15, 20, like 15's amazing.
Yeah, this is not a DLC. This is an expansion at DLC pricing. It really is.
An expansion. I am adamant in not calling it a DLC. It's like, this is an expansion like video games used to have, not a DLC like horse armor or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Good point.
But I love the fact that they're not going towards a free-to-play model, because we're talking about updates and how they keep making the game better. If you go a free-to-play model, then the developers and publishers have an incentive for like the updates to not just focus on making the gameplay itself better, but bringing in more money through whatever methods that they have to monetize the game. Whether or not that's like making, forcing people, I don't know, like having a new Civ that's, really crazy good that you have to pay like $5 to get, or certain boosts to like battle pass things and having like dev time go towards that instead of balancing like the game itself.
Yeah, I could probably stand corrected with my free to play model. I could see some holes to poke in there, like flaws.
Wait. Are you saying you were wrong, Sir Nevels? Say it for people in the
back. Oh man, I could have been flawed in my judgment. I don't know. You never know. But this expansion has kind of like showed me that maybe it doesn't mean that what I said that came from a place of nervousness. Like, I was trying to play this off like, oh, we're good. I know we're good. But like maybe it came from a place of nervousness. Like maybe we gotta just get more, sometimes more, a little more flood of content. Maybe people will stay. Like maybe I was getting nervous, but like with this expansion, and I'm hearing this saying like apparently it's up to like 10 months of content from this expansion. I guess like Age of Noob, who's like a really big like He's very he gets very into his videos, makes really good videos. Age of New for sure. But he was saying like he made videos for Age of Empires 2 and 4. He put out a disclaimer saying like, hey guys, if you're a fan of Age of Empires 2, bear with me. For the next 2 to 3 months, I'm doing just AoE IV content.
I mean,
again, so much to cover.
I said objectively before, and obviously I'm not 100% objective, but I do think like you can't just say it's 100% subjective that this game is better or not better anymore. Like, I mean, this game has some very real arguments to be made about why this game could and very well is better. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with Beale. I think the trick to this is that it's a matter of business model. This is more of a business kind of model decision, I think. And they're going with a more classic. And I think maybe in the world we live in now, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, right? They're going with a very classic business model. They are a development company, and that means they produce code for the game, they make a product, and they sell the product, right?
You know, and that's
I'm okay with that.
That's respectable. I guess I gotta just, get off my. I gotta turn my fitted back forward. I had to just cock to the side to make the cool.
It's kind of like what Beale said. What that means, though, too, is that means because for a freemium model, right, the product is you're trying to get users who want to become consumers, right? You're trying to draw in a big enough user base that they want to become consumers to buy little things, right? And that way you just kind of keep the base model the same, and it's like little like skins or random things like that, right? You're trying to sell other things that are easy.
Incentivized to develop the game to make the player like pay money
keep coming in
more frequently.
Yep.
Where with this, it's like, hey,
the content
we're adding
has to be
a whole
good.
bunch of stuff. Just pay $15 up front, and there you go.
Yeah.
It's a one-time thing until like maybe a year and a half from now. It's like, hey, another big expansion. $15, and that's totally fair.
Yeah, it means that the content, you're right, it has to be top tier. If the content is the product, that content has to be enticing enough as an expansion for people to want it, which is, I think, for the player base, I think for this type of game especially, better, right? For like Fortnite, I think is the opposite of this. Fortnite and Fortnite, I think, has been the best of these. Of all the places the companies that have done this, I think Fortnite has the best freemium model. The game's free, anyone can enjoy it and play it. And then if you want to have cosmetics, because they're cosmetics, they do a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of like partnerships with things, right? They do a lot of like different partners. They do a lot, and I think that's very valid. They've done a good job with that, and I don't actually dislike the way they've done it, because I think the base game lends itself to that. They had a game that wasn't great. They realized that they had a mode that worked really well. I mean, they took that and ran with it. Great. Everyone wants to copy that because now what's the company that owns?
They're so successful.
Fortnite.
Epic.
Epic now. Epic Games is like $1 billion company, right? So now everyone wants in on it. I do think that for this type of game, the content matters, right? And this is, I think, for us, a more player-friendly model, and I am all for it.
I agree.
Take my $50. Take my money. I'm like, it's like that Fry. Is it Fry? Is that his name, right? You're like, take my money. Like, that's definitely how I feel.
Yeah, I think it's more of a quality over quantity type thing too. Because usually you can get like you get the freemium model. It's just a lot of stuff being thrown at you, just to kind of keep you turn the game on every day. Some of it you could tell is just like a little. It's like they just got some dude in the room just drawing up stuff all day just to put a little $3 to $5 price tag on it. And like I said, sometimes, man, like I said, if you can't. I kind of go with you can't beat them, join them, but that's not always a good mindset. That's my problem right there, because they're like Fortnite, you said they're the pioneers. They pretty much started the Battle Pass wave, and they still are doing so well with it. And they got that on lock, so they do their thing good. They can try to keep it over here and do what we do. Well, I know but the developers over here, what they do good.
Right, because Fortnite was designed for like mass appeal. Like everybody can have a fun time in Fortnite. Yep. Come play as your favorite characters from such and such. And Age of Empires and RTS is such a niche community. It's like, hey,
premium gamers, come over here.
Exactly. You want to play this game that like you have to be kind of a psycho to just like, yep, I'm going to spend 30 minutes in intense, sweaty concentration with. Not relaxing at all, stressful, hyper competitive, no downtime, no breaks.
No, nothing. Nothing, dude.
It's a different breed, and I don't think you can go for mass appeal like Fortnite does with Age of Empires, because you'll drive out the the diehards who want to be there, but you want to attract a lot of new people because like
that's hard. Yeah,
fundamentals of the game just it's certainly not everybody's cup of tea. No, like not a lot of people, not a mass amount of people want to come home from work and just be like, okay. Yeah. Instead of relaxing,
there's a reason I play other games and I stream other games as well as this game. Like, there's a reason I do more than one.
You need to.
And it's okay to walk away from this game for a little bit and take a break and do something else. This is a high involved game, but man, like every time I start watching with the EGC TV tournaments going on right now, it makes me want to play. It makes me want to play when I see high-end players going at it. I just get kind of excited with the new civs, new chances to learn, new matchups. I mean, this game's going to feel fresher than it ever has.
I agree.
I got banned from the EGC.
What'd you do?
Stream. This was briefly because it was Mentor Tim and Cow were casting. I was like, oh, EGC is scraping the bottom of the barrel for casters here. Lord Mosquito came in and was just like, I think you're the one scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Oh man, you beat the EGC.
Yeah. And then like Cow and Tim like in the chat, like not on the stream talking, but like typed in like, no, we know him. He's just kidding around.
Trolling. He's just trolling.
That's hilarious,
the moderators came down like full ham. Well, I've had problems where even I've been casting. What was it? I casted I think it was just for Rising Empires, and we had someone come in just like berating us, and it was like, what the heck, guys? So yeah, you gotta. I mean, actually, I roasted Tim here in the chat in our Discord just a little bit ago too. Shout out to not Tim. Did I say Tim? I meant Caleb. Caleb Calamari. He can't be with us today. He's busy. But he was saying he asked us to say something sophisticated and inspiring for him, and I burned him by saying, "Oh yeah, it'll be easy without him bringing our average IQ down 17 points." But you gotta know someone to do that, right? You gotta know someone pretty well to be able to burn them like that, right? They gotta know it's not like meant intentionally.
I mean, I did put a winky face in like the following message.
There we go.
Still caught like you've been muted for 36,000 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
That's great.
Hey man, you do what you gotta do though. So wait, are we going to talk about the variant civs?
Yeah, let's go to the variant civs. There's so many of them. So let's start with just listing out what they are. Where do I find where?
I can
find a good spot. I'm so excited to see patch notes because I live off of patch notes. So having like outsource all this to other places where they've been announced, it's so difficult. Also, on a side note, I've got my window with my Seattle Seahawks game. Did the Dolphins really score 70 points today?
70 points. They tied.
Whoa.
Dude, number 3. They tied for the third.
That is
most
that is out of this world. For anyone who's European and doesn't understand, doesn't know American football, imagine scoring that much in rugby, or like imagine scoring like 30 points in soccer, or football.
That's like 7
points. That's like a 10 goal. It's like a 10 goal game, or like a 7-10 goal game.
That's more than a 10 goal game. That's like a 20 goal game.
Yeah,
I mean, 70 points is insane. You don't see that in college ball
10
even.
Touchdowns. Yeah.
That's like 70 is what you score in a basketball game, not a American football game. That is insane. So I just saw that on my other screen. I just had to bring that up.
Quarterback. I'm sorry.
Tonga Vailoa, dude, he's a great guy. Anyways, we're getting off topic. Back to the variant civs. I just saw that and that just blows my mind. That is crazy.
Where are the names at? Go Seahawks. There you go. I had the names.
Where are the names? I need to find where's that SpongeBob?
Okay, well the names is that's a big topic. It's crazy you think it wouldn't be that big of a topic, but it literally probably the biggest topic.
People are up in arms about this. People are like ready to join Jeanne d'Arc and join her army just to fight this.
Oh man, people are going crazy.
So I know I'm going off of memory. I know that France is getting their alternate civ, Joan of Arc, which people are upset about.
I think I got it.
You got it? Let's go for it.
So we got France's their alternative is Joan of Arc. The Abbasids are getting the Sultan's army, and the HRE is getting the Order of the Dragon, and the Chinese are getting the Jade Empire. Yeah,
that's right.
So, and which I heard some like these are like I don't know why they're getting so much hate, because actually I think the for the HRE, like the Order of the Dragon was like a real thing.
It was, yes. I've seen some Reddit posts about that. It was a real thing. I don't mind that one either. I don't mind that one because HRE is such a splintered empire, right? The joke about HRE is that it was neither holy, it was not Roman, and it was not an empire, right? Like that's like a joke. About it like all those things were not really accurate descriptive.
Yeah. I think what the controversy comes from is like people assuming that looking at a list of civilizations, you're going to look through and just be like, all right, the Abbasids, the Mongols, the English, Joan of Arc, HRE, like, seeing that, it's just like, what the hell? How does it doesn't fit together. Well, that is such a weird thing. But I think what they're going to do, what they're going to do is just call it like the French dash Joan of Arc.
Exactly. I think the same thing. That's what I'm thinking.
HRE's Dragon Order, right? Like China's Empire of Jade. Abbasids Sultan's army. Yeah, like it's gonna be just like a slash, because I think the key fundamentals of the Civ won't change. It'll be just a couple of tweaks, right? Imagine AoE 2, like how they have just a couple of different things different. I heard it's pretty skins. Different. I mean, it probably will be pretty different. I mean, I think the core function of the Civ won't be like, or at least there'll be enough similarities that they couldn't justify calling it something totally different, right? Because it's still, I mean, Joan of Arc is probably still going to have very similar French things about it, right? The buildings are going to look the same. They're going to have the same language, probably the same music, I'd guess. Those kind of things, right? So it's going to be the same Civ, but there'll be difference in play style a little bit, maybe some different units. I know for HRE for sure that's been confirmed. They'll have different horsemen or knights or something like that. It looks like.
I'm assuming that the Sultan's army is still going to have to build a House of Wisdom, and that's how they're going to age up. Yeah.
For that though, I think Abbasid is going to have, instead of camels, I think they're going to have horse riders for the Sultan's army.
Ooh. I can see that.
I saw a Reddit post talking about that, and I would say that's probably a good idea. That probably I could see that happening, because camels, while they were popular, I mean, they had horses in Egypt. They were war animals. Horses were the war animals for many civs in that region of I guess we call it the Middle East.
I mean, don't the Abbasids still, their knights, their lancers still ride horses?
I guess so. Maybe it'd be improved, or they have something different. Maybe like horse archers or something a bit different, Yeah,
I can see that. I can see more. What if they do actually have to build landmarks to get 4 landmarks?
That'd be weird. That would
be
feel
weird. That'd
weird.
be different. That'd be different.
I don't know. I'm excited to see.
I will most definitely. I mean, I just I think you're headed towards this build. Like, pretty much, like, I think the whole naming thing will be if they confirm that, like, it was like an under tab of, like, say you click on French and there was like a little tab down and then it was like Joan of Arc. Like, but didn't they probably have new flags though too?
They did. They looked similar, but slightly. Each one looks similar, but slightly different.
I don't think they were confirmed. I think there are a lot of people just making them up, like how they think it will look. But if they have different,
and the nice thing is things can still change, right? They've announced stuff. Doesn't mean we haven't. I mean, they are probably looking at all the backlash at some of the names that people aren't happy about. Maybe they will change it. Maybe they will make it slightly different. I don't know.
Devs came out and said they're acknowledging that the feedback from the Civ names.
Yeah, so maybe they will.
I think on AoE further, one of the number one things on AoE IV world is like the devs have heard us out.
Yeah, I saw
like the devs are listening, like, because I think they tweet out saying like there's gonna be more details and we've been looking at all the feedback.
Well, it worked for Sonic, right? It worked for Sonic with that movie. So,
Oh yeah. Oh no, it works a lot. Like, man, people really underestimate the power of a solidarity fan base, like a unified fan base. Yeah. Like, you can get a lot of stuff done if you are loud enough. Like, and the people are signing polls and they're signing all types of stuff. So
at the same time, I don't feel like we need to have our pitchchorks and torches ready to go here. The devs are. I do find it a little funny that we have the biggest announcement of the biggest. Not a DLC. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? Expansion. And people just love to complain. And obviously, there've been a lot of posts now about people complaining too, which is now just turning into more complaining itself. So I don't want to beat on this horse too hard, but like, guys, can we just be happy just for a little bit? Like, let's just take a breath, enjoy it. It's going to be okay. I'm just excited. I'm just super excited for the next couple months of Age of Empires 4.
Oh man, it's going to be excellent. I mean, like I say, it's a tall order to have no one complain. Like, no matter what. Like, I think when it all first got announced, people were like, when they heard about the variant civs, they were like, only. Like, cause I think BCQD was like CI6 says, and people were immediately like, well, technically, no, it isn't. Like, it's technically only 2 with variation Civs. And he's the one that's seen everything. And he's like, listen, I've seen it. I've tried. I've seen him in action.
He does have inside information from what I've.
Oh yeah. He's been going nuts for like at least over a month now since they got announced. Like a lot of these pro players, like they get. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they have a whole developer Discord. They're tapped in. So like they know they have an NDA they have to sign. So a lot of them know. Like a lot of people in our Discord, like people in Free Bar, some like the little some big wigs in there, they know, like they know what's up, but it's just you can't just come out and spill the beans, so they gotta just hint around it. But like what I'm hearing, especially the fact that everyone's calling them, Civs, like they're calling them basically an individual civilization. I think it's gonna play, the name aside, like these are gonna be different. Like you never know. I mean, French, the Joan of Arc couldn't be really might not be a cavalry variation. It might be something different. Yeah. It might be a trade version, but who knows? Like anything
I don't think can go. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they want to take some of the different. It sounds like they want to take some of these Civs and just give them very different play styles. So if you like that Civ, you can still play with a style that fits more what you want to do. Because that's the tricky thing with some of these Civs. Maybe someone really loves the culture of the Holy Roman Empire. They really love that Central European, like I guess that's kind of Western European. They really love that, like HRA. They really love that, right? But maybe the playstyle just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Like maybe I love English, right? Or I guess that's not a good example. Maybe I love how dare I say? Maybe I like China a lot. Right? Whoa. I love this. I will say it. The music for China is some of the best in the game. I love this. Yeah. I love the aesthetic. I love all that. But I just can't play them because the gameplay for them doesn't fit what I do. Well, now here's a way you can alternate, have a slightly variation that has a different play style that might fit what I do. For all I know, like maybe if I don't want to have because French kind of has just a very aggressive feudal civ, right? That's kind of what they do, or maybe a trade. Maybe now they'll have like an economic thing, or maybe they'll be more infantry based. Yeah. Like there's so much more they can do differently.
So much. And I'm right now I'm looking at the screenshots that got released, and like you can clearly see, like I remember back when we went through the screenshots, it showed like a French, looked just like the French, but you see like someone carrying like a hand cannon and a horse, and if you zoom in, like the character's helmet, but it's horse. It's just hair underneath their helmet. It's like a little hero character, which looks like Joan of Arc. Like Joan of Arc. There could be more hero characters being introduced into the multiplayer.
Oh, I think there will be. I think that was a big thing that we were kind of talking about, and then we kind of got sidetracked. Let's actually dive into that a little bit, because I think hero characters are interesting to think about. So far, there's only a couple hero characters in the game. I can think of 2 right off the bat that I know are in the game right now.
The Khan and the King?
Yep. Those are the 2 I would say. The Khan and the King. The Khan's been in since the beginning. And that's been one of the things that's set apart the Mongols for a long time, right? They have a very, very unique unit that has been very unique. The King has introduced another one for English that they could bring in. Now let's make some observations about those two. They are both very different units, right? But they're different, but they're also very similar, right? They do different things, but they are both similar in a certain vein, right? In that their first thing is not combat, right? They're not massive, tanky like elephants that just bulldoze everyone. The big thing about them is that they're like support units, right? And so that's what makes them so easy to balance, I think. Is that they're support units first, not just some crazy tanky like unit that you have to just micro all the time. Yeah. I would suspect, and I would kind of hope that that's kind of the formula they use moving forward. I think having a massively aggressive, very powerful unit doesn't seem great to me. However, I do think having more support units that do different things is a good idea and easy to balance.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, like, for example, maybe, what if they did another update to where so with the Joan of Arc variant, there's actually Joan of Arc on the field. You click on the unit and the unit says Joan of Arc. To where they make English king now, like Henry V. And they actually name these heroes and actually start making them maybe get the Khan, Uglan, or I don't know. What's a good Khan?
Uglan. That's good. I'm going to make that your nickname, Sir Nevels. Uglan. Love it.
Uglan. I think that's for sure made up. But I don't.
If there's any Mongolians listening, I'm sure they are very offended by you, Sir Nevels.
No,
There'll be an apology YouTube video coming soon.
I know, yeah, coming out. So I think Ubalan is a name. That was like I know Genghis. I mean, we all know about Genghis. But like, what are his sons? He had a lot of sons. He had a lot of children. So what if they're one of his children? And then, and also too, like the Order of the Dragon, was that more of a Crusades type of military? Like they actually had the crosses?
No idea.
Because no idea. If you look in the screenshots, they have like one of the campaign screenshots, they actually have men with like the whole Crusade Templar gear where they have like, the big white, they have the cape, the big white, the red cross across the cape. It's kind of hard to see. We can see on the bottom, which is going to makes a lot of sense for the time period of the campaign is going to be based off of. So what if that is also a part? There's so many opportunities they can go with these variances, and I think they'll be more different than we believe because whoever has insider information, they're like convinced. They're like, no, these are new civs. Like they immediately said, like, oh, they're not even calling them variant civs. They're saying 6 new civs in the game.
So, Beale, what do you think about the idea of like the heroes? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't want them super powerful, although it would be funny to have like a Warcraft 3 style hero that like levels up and gets special abilities and like gets his ult and whatever. But I don't think that would fit this game at all. So yeah, I mean, hero units that do like slightly more damage than a normal unit of their type and maybe have like a little passive or something that might boost units around it. I mean, those are fine. Things that you can only have one on the field at a time. I'm not against that. I think there's a lot you can do with that, but I don't want something that can just level up over the course of the match, and then you've got this like 1,000 HP like monster barreling down who's stunning your units and whatever.
No, is there any hero unit that nullifies the enemy attacks? Like makes it that unit's influencing your army, it nullifies the enemy army. If it's an influence. Is that
not yet?
Exist? Not yet. Exactly, not yet.
The Japanese civ, the charge.
Nullify
attacks while they're charging.
That's just a union. That's like a unit thing. That looks crazy by the way too. I was wondering if there's a hero unit that was like, no, I don't believe so. Metter, they don't have anything that nullifies. Is a Metter a hero unit?
Yeah, I was just thinking, Metter like comes.
Metter's not a hero
because you can have multiple of them.
Yeah.
But their influence and the way they work is similar to how I would expect a number of hero units to operate. Like they do have a similar function in that regard, but they're also kind of the base of the bonus for that whole civ, as far as their military. That is like their base thing that they use. They have to have a metter. I mean, an Ottoman's army without a metter is just a bunch of guys dancing without music,
Yeah. They need the rhythm in battle. Like without it, they're lost. They're like, what?
They stab to the beat,
No acapella Ottomans. No way. No, we don't like
Ottomans.
that.
Make that a thing. Make that a phrase. Next time I'm casting it, it's gonna be acapella.
Exactly. No, we got some acapella Ottomans here. Ew.
I'm gonna use that. Next time I'm casting. That's great.
We don't like none of that. None of that around here. But honestly, I think, that really, if you think about it, you look at the name drama, then you can talk about it for longer, but it's kind of dumb. Like, we can't even go around it too much longer because it's like just guys just over speculating, and it's really not that big of a deal. I think a lot of people just over speculate before details are released. Like, at least wait for some details to come out on how they're going to play, how they're going to be, how similar they are to the civilization they're influenced from. Like, at least wait for the details to be announced before we start over speculating about, because it's just a name.
All right, the podcast gotta go now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over. It's over now, I guess.
I gotta stop speculating. I get it.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, speculating is beautiful, but when you do it from like a almost like an objective perspective where you're like, Well, it's gonna be just like, well, it's just not gonna be that much different.
Yeah,
like,
we can't say
like
there's huge disclaimer ahead of us here. We've got no idea. We've made. I think our aqueduct observation, I think, is probably pretty accurate. I think many people have said that too. I think that's one of those things where most people can kind of pick up on that. When you see, I think it's a matter of we speak the language of this game, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of know, like, when you're looking at new things, it's kind of easy to figure out like what the devs are thinking because we all speak the same language. We all speak Age of Empires 4. We kind of just know how the game flows, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, like I said, I think when you get over speculative and then you start like tricking yourself to think that's how it's going to be, and you get upset, you get yourself upset, like, oh no, don't. Well, like I'm pretty sure it's going to be just like this. So this is dumb to have that because this is that, and it's like, well, hold on a minute, wait a minute, let them at least release the details first before we start, throwing, and start rioting. Plus, let's just extinguish our torches for a hot second. Because that happens a lot. I mean, a lot of people listen. I think right before the actual confirmation of an expansion, that's like when the game was at its all-time, like everybody's jumping off ship. Like, oh, we're done. This game's not going to come in.
Yeah, people were getting antsy, that's for sure.
Yeah, people were getting super antsy.
I'm glad they announced it when they did, because I think another month, and it felt like there was something kind of boiling up. But I think there was a lot of hype about, I don't know, everyone kind of expected an announcement. Like some people expected it, and then a lot of people had liked guessing that there wouldn't be. So it just felt like this was really weird tension that was in the game. Now, I will say the tension with the people arguing about the Civ variant names, I'd much rather have this than what we had before.
Oh, it's way better.
Like, this is like, man, it's like watching like toddlers go at it and just getting angry. Like, no, you're a boogie monster. It's like, well, no, it's like, I don't care anymore. Like all the tension, the stakes are so much lower now, right?
So
like if we're arguing about like, oh no, my variant Civ that I get added to the game is not quite named what I want it, as opposed to, oh geez, is this game gonna die? Are they gonna cut
exactly.
like their work on it entirely? Dad, is it just done?
Where's Dad?
Exactly. No, this is for sure. This is something more like just fun to pick at. Whereas before it was literally like Chernobyl in the community. It was like really just people were just really just abandoning ship. But those same people that left, they're on their way back. I think
I loved last week listening to the episode. It's rare that I get to be a listener on the show and not just like, the guy like doing all the editing, doing all the stuff to get it on, getting to hear back when you were doubled down on last week about 2 weeks ago about being right. I thought that was so funny. You had me cracking up in the car. I was laughing so hard. But you were right.
Well, I'm saying, listen, boys, actually, listen, we were right. We never, as a whole, we didn't give up. You guys are more mature than me. I just have a little bigger mouth. Well, like, we were all right. We never, none of us, and Caleb too, none of us were like, guys, like, it's not some secret Discord message. We're like, guys, I don't know if we should.
Is the podcast going to stop? Are we going to be done?
Do we have time? Like, is this even going to die out eventually? Every week, we still been shooting. We still been going in. We still got outlines coming out every week. We never once were like some people, we're not gonna name names, but we weren't like just like, oh, it's over, it's done, I'm moving on to something else, and then things look great, and then we're back suddenly. No, man, we stay strong. We stay fighting the good fight. And listen, that's always respectable, because there's a lot of times that happens when things start looking grim. A lot of people want to jump ship, but the people that stay and hold on and put on their life suit, put on their life jacket, whatever it takes, those are guys that prevail at the end. And now we are official lieutenants of the AoE IV community. We are lieutenants. We're up there.
Excuse me, I'm a captain. So,
excuse me, my fault. I didn't even want to de-rank you like that. I apologize. You're right. We're captains.
Captains of
exactly of the AoE enthusiasm.
It's funny because like I feel like this podcast is such a small niche thing, and in some ways I feel like we are huge parts of the community. Then other parts, like I did get a big tickle out of someone thinking that we had inside information and that we had some kind of early version of playtest. I was like, man, I wish. Like, as if.
That's a compliment.
Maybe it is.
That's a compliment. They're like, who are these guys? Wait a minute.
You realize how much people just talk out of their butt, right? Like about like stuff, like how much people just like completely throw things out there and just assume that that's correct, and how many people just spread false stuff just because they think they're right. That was kind of shocking. It's weird to hear something about yourself that's just completely unfounded.
That'd be hilarious. Like, we should do a parody episode where like, we just over act like we're just leaking everything. We're like, yeah, they're gonna be tanks, Byzantine tanks
coming. Age 6 is coming in, guys.
More ages.
More ages.
A new alien extraterrestrial age. Immediately start Imperial and go higher. Like, what?
Oh, man.
They're bringing Halo into AoE.
Bring in Master Chief.
He's a hero unit. He's the one we've been waiting for.
He's the hero unit. He comes, no need for cavalry. We got Warhogs all over the map.
Oh, gosh.
That would be crazy.
Just go play Halo Wars if that's what you want.
Halo War, this little partnership between Halo Wars and AoE. Both made by Microsoft, so.
Yeah, they are. Microsoft taking over the world.
Yeah.
What if that comes out? They're like, we got Dev listening, like, that's not a bad idea.
We get a cease and desist letter going, hey.
It's like, all right, that's enough now, boys. Wait a minute. Nah, that's what's up, though.
Alrighty, well, I think we've kicked this horse dead. We could keep speculating, but I don't think we've got much more to say until we get more information. So let's get a quick break. I
want to reiterate.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We briefly touched on it, but 11 maps is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
That is, like, I don't know. Everybody's freaking out about the Civs, but I am, like, with bated breath, like, oh, what are these 11 new maps?
I heard they're all great, too.
Yeah, if we
confirmed,
it would be amazing if like at least like 8 of the maps were winners, just complete like.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Complete winners. Have a ranked pool where every single map is awesome, and then have enough like really good maps for ranked pool where you could rotate them more frequently. Because I know we've been on this map pool for like feels like 2 months at this point. Yeah. I don't know. When they last,
it's not a bad map pool. It's not the worst.
No, I like this map pool quite a bit.
One of the better ones.
It's nice to freshen it up, though.
But man, like,
of course,
11 maps. If more than half of those are amazingly good for 1v1,
I'm like really hoping that Bitterland took my idea of having like an inverse pit, and that's going to be one of the maps. I'm like really hoping he's going to put in there and name it something like sheep pastures or something like that, or like Highland pastures.
Man.
Something
take
for us, you know.
Take a little secret
that would make me so happy if he did. I have no idea.
That'd be beautiful. It's like a Bitterland, I know you're listening.
Like if he is, I mean, I know he probably is. If he did, that'd be so cool. I do think that'd be a fun map idea. He that was his one that he said my one idea. He said that it wasn't bad. So I've been thinking about it.
I don't see two things. I wish I had a map voting system.
Yep.
Like when it comes down to like the map pops up and you guys can vote on which one you want. If you guys both don't vote for the same one, how like fighting games do it, it'll almost like have like a little spinning wheel and it'll like randomly generate between whichever one you guys want. But like, yeah, just like maybe put up like 3 or 4 maps and you guys just vote on which one you want to play. And Dry Arabia be included in there every time.
I bet matchmaking comes into mind for that. Why they don't, but it would be kind of nice.
What AoE 2 does, every time they redo their map pool, they do have a vote. They're like, hey, here are the 12 maps in like the voting pool.
Vote for 10.
The community votes, and the like top 7 or 8 are in the pool this time around.
Yes, yeah. See, I mean, like in a almost like a pregame lobby, like how most games do it, where like you throw up like 4 maps in the ranked pool, and if it's a team game, then whoever like you guys all pick which map you guys want, and the majority of votes, can you guys play that map that game, or a 1v1, just throw up like one between 2 to 3 maps, and then you guys both pick which map you guys want. If you guys both pick the same map, it's automatically enhancedly that's the map you guys play. But if you guys pick like 2 different maps, and it like almost goes like a coin flip.
All right, quick little pushback against that, because in fighting games, there's not really like besides not really that much of a difference.
Not much of a difference.
But you could see like one guy just being like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna learn like marshlands or whatever, and I'm gonna create the best marshland strategy, and like only play it like a little more than 50% of the time, just because you can like lock it in as an option.
Well, what if I like the 8 to 10 maps in the map pool for ranked? Like they cycle them out, so you can't just like get marshlands every time in the cycle of map you could choose. So like they just like marshland won't even always be there for him to vote on. So like maybe first session you play it'd be like Dry Arabia, Golden Heights, and Marshland, and then the second one is like Dry Arabia, Hill and Dale, and another map. Like you can't just spam Marshland because you're trying to learn it.
It has like different options each time. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah, it's like little.
Dry Arabia though was in there.
It's gonna always be Dry Arabia.
You're never playing another map ever. You're not playing another map ever again. Dry Arabia is like the Call of Duty Rust map of like, it's like just like 1v1 right now, Dry Arabia. Exactly. 1v1 Dry Arabia right now. That's the 1v1. Oh, that's right there.
Me on Warring Islands. Come on, you won't.
Exactly. You won't, nerd. Let's go.
Nerd. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get to some Reddit posts. Okay, guys, I'm going to level with you real quick. It's been a while since I've had time to make a new morenights.com ad. I've been kind of cycling through them ever since I made like 4 or 5. Like I was doing one every single week. And then my baby was born, and getting the time to make a new one takes a surprisingly large amount of effort and planning. And I usually edit these pretty late at night. For instance, right now the clock just struck midnight Monday morning, so it's technically Tuesday. So this episode is due. It's due now for me. I haven't had time to do that. I've been cycling the old ones through and kind of using them up again because I figured a lot of people have been new to the show. Maybe they hadn't heard the first couple. But just kind of running through them, I figured it'd be kind of fun to hear some of the more familiar ones again. But this time around, my editing software is refusing to play it for whatever reason. It's just being finicky. It probably needs a hard restart. I'm so late. I'm about to head to bed. I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do for you today is I looked up Reader's Digest's funniest jokes of all time. And I'm going to just read a couple of my favorite ones. And that's going to be our morenights.com ad. So go visit www.morenights.com. They are sponsoring these jokes. So enjoy. A grasshopper walks into a bar. The bartender looks at him and says, "Hey, they named a drink after you." "Really?" replies the grasshopper. "There's a drink named Stan?" Well, that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. There's a couple other good ones. Here's a good one for cows. For all the cow lovers out there, here's a good one. A pair of cows were talking in the field. One says, "Have you heard about the mad cow disease that's going around?" "Yeah," the other cow says. "Makes me really glad I'm a penguin." Maybe I'll find one more just to round this one out. 3 is pretty good. Let's see. Let's find one. All right, here's the final one, and it's a sheep-related one, so it fits, okay? Did you hear the one about the shepherd who drove his sheep through town and was given a ticket for making a U-turn? Get it? A U-turn? All right, if you can stop listening to the podcast now, I get it. If you leave forever, I understand. I'm sorry I put you through this. There was no extra sheep, there was no morenights.com ad, but hopefully that's some kind of consolation prize. So anyways, I'll get you guys right back to the Reddit posts and everything else. So have a good rest of your day. All right, let's get back to.
Okay, I'm ready. Back to professional podcast mode.
And we're back. We totally were not talking about football and baseball and how much we love sports. No, not at all. We're just complete nerds. We're not totally jocks at times who just love sports. No. I'm not totally watching DK Metcalf catch a 30-yard pass right there. No, not me. And
I totally don't hate DK Metcalf. I totally do not hate him.
Okay, he's a crybaby. I'll admit it. He's a crybaby, but he's my team, so I gotta support him. Yeah. That was Walker. I'm sorry, that was not. Anyways, yeah, we're back. I'm sorry.
We're back.
We got some Reddit posts today. I've got some good ones for us. Some on topic for today, some a little bit off topic for today. We'll see. Looking at it, let's go with number 1, shall we? Let's number Beautiful. 1. On the list. This one is an interesting one. It caught my eye. I was going through. There's been a lot more activity on the Reddit than there has been. Hot take. This is a hot take. I wanted to discuss it. Maybe not just too long, but this is by user Unusual Raisins 9138. They main HRE is what they say. The little flares got HRE, and this was 6 hours ago, so very recent. And they say HRE, Mindwreck Palace is better than Aachen Chapel. They think, okay, looks like they've edited the post here a little bit, but
he's like, actually, never mind. I'm not gonna. I was wrong.
He's the top paragraph has mentioned someone made an important point that 10% bonus to resource gathering rate does not mean a 10% increase to resource per minute. But he's got a huge write-up. I'm not going to read the write-up. It would take too long, but I just think that's an interesting thesis. he's going to go on to say that like the Aachen Chapel is great and all, but the mine work has good timing, et cetera, et cetera. Why do I think it's better? Okay. He goes into thinking that the wiki, he says, and he thinks that the technologies are really good. So what do you guys think?
This is a very bold claim. This is a bold claim. This is crazy to me.
I think where he's coming from is just like all the Aachen does is give that prelate gathering bonus over a large area, so you don't need as many prelates. And he's saying mine work gives you like other things as well, and you can still make prelates and use those prelates to keep all of your villagers inspired the entire time. So the Aachen is just a big building with a drop-off point if you're already making a bunch of prelates.
That is so disrespectful to the Aachen.
It is, but it is. That's his point, though. That's his point. You know, we're trying not to editorialize too much yet.
You're right. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, but I mean that falls apart when you think about you're hitting feudal. You can move that prelate into the Aachen and not have to immediately just start making prelates along with your villagers out of the town center. You're not delaying villager production as much if you're trying to get everybody inspired.
Yep. I think a big thing is you got to know what is it. I think I fundamentally disagree. I think mine work can be more fun in certain situations. I fundamentally disagree with this guy's take because kind of what you mentioned, Beale, and also the reason why that matters to your point is that what is HRE trying to do, right? What are you trying to do with HRE? If you're playing a standard HRE build, the one that I go for like 99 times out of 100, you are going to set up your Aachen Chapel specifically so you can go castle faster, right? Your idea is to get to castle age, get the relics, let your, coast with all that extra gold because you're going to be on less villagers, more gold, 1 TC straight into fast castle, get those men at arms or knights out, whichever you prefer, and just get your economy booming before your opponent can even get online. You're trying to beat them to castle and then grab the relics so you've got infinite gold, so you don't need to take as much map control. Like that is the goal. Like that is the goal. If you're playing for an aggressive feudal style, then yeah, sure, I go for mine work. But I think when you're going for a castle play, that the Aachen just lends itself so much more. I mean, you could, in theory, I guess, get more, like you said, more prelates and post those around, and you can do a good job with that. But that's taking up a lot more gold, a lot more time. It's just they've shown it's just not as fast getting to castle age as it would be with an Aachen Chapel. At least not as efficiently, anyways.
I mean, how effective are the HRE in feudal? Because I feel like the HRE
it depends.
Unless you're like really like you got a really just laid out beautiful like build order to where like it's very hard. You practice it 100 times and you got it down to a T. Then I guess you can go for a nice mine work, a mine work palace build and kind of go a little more aggressive and feudal. But I feel like HRE just don't come online really until Castle Age. At least from like our player, like, our skill point from like diamond and below. Like I really feel like the HRE, like they are one of the best Castle Age units for a reason. Because you're really trying to, sorry, you main HRE, you know this, but like you said, 99% of the time you're going for it. Aachen Chapel, you're going to hurry up and you're going to literally get that you're going to surge that entire economy boost, get you a 8 to 10 minute Castle Age, go out and get the relics, and then your biscuits and gravy. Like you're good. Like your economy's booming so much faster.
Well, it's secure too, yeah.
And then it scales better, the Aachen Chapel. Once you exhaust that wood line or exhaust wherever you're near, make your farms around it, protect your farms, and that drop-off point. Because like I've been saying in the post, prelates can only influence effectively 8 villagers. So like late game, you can't do. I mean, you could have 30 prelates in an area, but like that's not as efficient.
Pop space starts being less efficient. Yeah, you're diminishing returns a little bit.
I really just feel like, mine work palace is very situational. I mean, if you're really hell bent on just I'm gonna kill this enemy, I'm gonna kill this guy, or maybe because you can't rush. It is actually not a bad build to just like rush men at arms into like civilization, like maybe a trash.
And there is a couple of ways you can play HRE feudal. It's just I think one of the Leo Pleurodon responded to this. Shout out to him. We've used some of his posts before. He mentions that there is a significant advantage is that it saves you a headache when it comes to prelate management. It does save you that headache because you can produce a lot. I do. If you're playing for a feudal game, I guess maybe you want to go for Aachen, or not go for Aachen. But in the long run, the vast majority of players, he says, simply don't have the capacity to manage that many prelates and make it as efficient as it would be instead of just having one Aachen Chapel. I mean, as far as pop space, as far as efficiency, just in general, it just makes sense to go Aachen. It is the better landmark, I would say.
And it scales amazing. Like it scales great.
It scales wonderfully.
Yeah, especially like it gets you the castle.
It fits what you're trying to do, you know?
Yeah. And like, I mean, I think it's, I don't want to say objective, but pretty much the most important resource in the game is food. Like without food, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Once you scale up into like, you know, and then also it helps you get into Imperial faster. I've seen a lot of pro builds.
Oh yeah,
like
and then once you get to Imperial, your eco shoots off. Because my extra sheep today is actually a HRE game I had on Golden Heights. I got some fun stuff on this one. I've got a fun story to share. And you get to Imperial, and that, especially if you go with the correct Imperial landmark and you go for the Palace of Swabia, that thing because your whole point is you want to get those relics because you're not going to have an eco advantage besides that. Like the prelates are inspiring your vills, so you have very efficient vills but less of them, and then the relics give you the gold income. Then once you hit Imperial, that Palace of Swabia lets you boom villagers out, and then you've got super efficient villagers everywhere. That really propels you and keeps you back in the game later in the game.
It's not called a village printer for no reason.
Exactly. Anyways, I don't want to kick that horse too dead, but I think, and not to say that Minework's not viable. It's viable.
Interesting take for sure.
I just would never say it's better.
Yeah, but I like the boldness and the claim.
Yeah, that's definitely up your alley.
We want people like this. We want people like this in the community. You say Mario Palace is better than Aachen Chapel. Change my mind, nerds. Like he's ready. he's ready to smoke. I like this type of energy.
Coming at it too with just like 4 giant paragraphs. So dude,
it's a literal 5-paragraph essay. Like he has great punctuation. He's got links. This dude, he's an intellect.
And you know, to his credit, I didn't read through all his stuff, but I mean, it's hard to read. It's a hot take for a reason, you know. Even Askeladd, who loves the going for the Minework, will admit it's not the best, you know.
I mean, Aachen is arguably the best landmark in the whole game.
Aachen is like, that is.
So that's a bold claim.
Yeah.
But I like it.
All right. Next post I have is by Leon 18th. And he says, no expansion. This is talking about the player numbers. He says, no expansion released yet. It's booming. Now, I think that title is a little bit unfair because the expansion's been announced, which I think is enough to excite some people just a little bit. But in the last 30 days, this is an interesting image he has here. In the last 38, so average has been anywhere from, we've gone up from back in January, we were at 9,000 players. February, 9,500. March, we had a big dip down to 7,900. April, back up to 8. May, 7,700. June, 6,700. Well, June was kind of a low month. That was when a lot of other games came out. There was a lot of hype for a lot of other games.
Start of the summer.
July, we went back up to 8,000. August down to 7,200, kind of end of summer, and then last 30 days back up to 8,274.7. The peak players being 17,000, which is the highest peak players we've seen since February.
And February too, like a little asterisk on that, it was like a really popular streamer at the time streaming the game.
Yeah,
his name is Lyric. He's like huge on Twitch.
Yeah, there was a lot. We had 26,000 peak players. That was the peak of the year back in February. And so I don't know if this is, I mean, obviously we had ups and downs. This right now, 8,200 average isn't insanely higher than what we've had. We were higher back in January and February, back when Mongols and Ottomans and Malians were still very new. I expect we'll hit that or higher coming up, but he is right in that we're up 14% over last month.
That's good.
The trend is definitely steady, if not going up a little bit the last couple months. I mean, our low point was in June at 6,700, which still isn't bad, but being up an extra couple thousand feels good. So I just wanted to mention that is there. I don't think it's just because I think there's a lot of things that go into that. I don't think there's too much to read into it here, but the game is healthy. So let's just lay that to rest, you know?
Yeah, I look at peak players more than average. Because isn't average like people only all at once? Like people logging in on regular.
Peak players is pretty bad. That is a pretty impressive jump actually from
peak players up to
1,700. The last time we were this high was back in February. So we are at the highest peak players we've been at for a while.
And this is all Steam. This is not
exactly. No one considers that either.
Yeah, just Steam, not also Xbox, which could add a ton.
Xbox and Game Pass, because I think the guys who do AoE 4 Worlds know more about like current status of the player base across all platforms, just because they're pulling in every single game, so they can see like how many games are played on average each day.
And I believe it's more than we think. There's a couple thousand like that log in on Game Pass. So I know a couple.
I think Game Pass and Xbox is probably maybe just as many as Steam.
It is very likely, because I know a couple of players who literally, like, for example, like the player I play with a lot now, like my brother, like he still has the game just on Game Pass. Like he's been playing a lot. Another, like, players that, it's a lot of players who dropped the game coming back. Just him saying his name reminds me of that. Like players who may have like a lot of I don't say reoccurring, but players that are coming back or not coming back to the game. But a lot of them, like I think more of the casual fan base comes from Game Pass. But that still exists. And it could be, I think this game has I think the game actually has a larger audience than even perceived in this post.
I'm just looking at this going, wait, if there's 8,000 average players, how come we aren't getting 8,000 downloads of the extra sheep?
That's a great question.
That's what I want to know. Like, we're sitting
what's going on.
Exactly.
What's going on, right?
What's going on here? It's not acceptable.
Spread the word. You guys who are listening, it is up to you. Word of mouth that comes through you. I don't know. I'm not too worried. We've actually our numbers for the podcast, in case anyone's wondering, are actually pretty steady. We average around after a month of every episode, like after about a month, caps out around 400 downloads. So 400 unique downloads per episode is kind of what we've been averaging for a while, since about May. It's a pretty good. I mean, we're a small podcast, but for something this niche, I'm pretty happy with those numbers. I'd love to see it bigger.
As long as we're not talking to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of my longest streams ever. I was playing I was playing AoE, but I was playing like another game, and I went like 6-7 hours with
nobody
no
on.
one ever coming.
That's always rough.
And I was just trying
to
keep
get someone
it going.
who's chatting, like you got like a group of like 7-8 guys, in the stream, and they're chatting with you a bit more. That's always nice.
Yeah. So but I've been there. I've been in the point where like you're literally just talking to yourself. Like, hopefully somebody stumbles across this. At least us having a reoccurring viewership, that makes me feel good right there. Yeah, I'm motivated off that.
So thank you to the listeners, everyone out there. I'm very aware of how many we've got. I take a look at the numbers. I'm always excited to see that. And it's really fun to see. I've seen certain places around the globe that consistently get places, like some places that even places you wouldn't expect as well. I'm trying to think of one. Like I think there's a listener in Tunisia who's like, we constantly get a couple downloads there. So I'm guessing it's like one person out that way. That always excites me, that we have a very interesting reach. So wherever you guys are listening, we appreciate it.
I thought you could say like North Korea. I'm like, whoa,
no,
that's great. That's reach right
I can
there.
tell you right now. In fact, let me since everyone seems to be kind of interested in this, let me just real quick. I'll show you the countries we have never gotten into, and I can definitely say
we breaking another. If we get our audio in North Korea, we really made it. We're good.
Or did we? I'd be a little worried, to be honest.
We gotta watch what we say.
Yeah.
Another thing too, Korean Civ. Ooh, that can be on the rise at some point too.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. Today we've had 19 downloads already. Our last peak was 61 on Thursday. Our last time we had 100 on Thursday before when we released our last episode. So the Extra Sheep Goes Live has had 279 downloads. That's a lot smaller than normal, but we also had a very large live audience. So I was going to show you guys. Nice, yeah. Let me take a look overview. Let's do all time.
All the behind scenes for the listeners.
All time. Let's see. What countries have we not hit? So some notable questions we've hit. We have not gotten any from Guatemala, but we have gotten some from Peru, from Brazil, from Argentina, and Chile. We've gotten all of Europe except for the Czech Republic.
Okay.
We haven't gotten Ukraine.
Europe makes sense.
Oh, we had our first Russian downloads. That has been a holdout for a long time. For the longest time, we hadn't had anyone in Russia. I'm presuming because internet might have been cut for the most part out that way, given what's going on. I wasn't thinking we'd ever get anyone in Russia, but we've had 2 in Russia. That's surprising to me, actually.
There's a huge Russian scene for AoE 4.
Yeah, we've only had two downloads.
Consistent protein.
Only 2 downloads. I'm wondering if a large part of it is because the internet's been kind of cut given things.
I mean,
Belarus also have 0. Ukraine has 0. I'm guessing for obvious reasons, the fact that Russia's invading Ukraine. I've got a feeling that has got a lot to do with it. Same with
possibly. I don't know.
We've got one from Uzbekistan. Just one download from Uzbekistan. That's surprising.
I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna lie.
South Korea, we have no downloads. That's a surprising one to me, actually.
They're all on
downloads.
StarCraft. They're all playing StarCraft
still. We do have some from Vietnam. We've gotten 4 from Vietnam. Shout out to Australia. 626 all-time downloads.
Wow.
And Zed with 55.
Sorrow Angel listening on repeat.
He's listening on repeat all those times.
I'll take
shout
it.
out to Sorrow Angel, man. We appreciate you.
Hey, that's my guy.
Fiji has 4. We haven't gotten Madagascar yet, but we've gotten 1 or 2 from Cameroon and Nigeria. We've gotten 1 from Egypt.
Shout out.
37 from Tunisia. So whoever's out there listening, that's a couple people at least. Probably some recurring ones. Welcome. We've had a lot in Israel has had 75. No downloads in China yet. Or Iran, or Iraq,
that's a little
Syria.
bit of censorship a little censorship in internet there. That makes more sense.
1 download from Saudi Arabia. So I don't know. We get quite a couple from Turkey, 11 from Turkey, and then Romania's got a couple. All throughout Europe, we get quite a bit. Ireland's got a lot. Iceland's got about 9. The UK representing with 668. Canada 728, and the United States about 44% of our viewership is from the States with 3,389 viewers. So that's the most. I mean, most of the globe actually is. I think we hit every continent: North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. So and Oceania if you want to count the islands. So we've gotten every continent. We've gotten big. That's kind of cool.
There we go. We're worldwide, boys. We made it.
Worldwide.
All right,
Back to the important part. Exactly. Sorry. Let's see. So here's another hot take. This is posted by More Builder 2916 about 20 hours ago at the time of this recording, and says China should start with an imperial official. And he says it should work the way. My initial knee jerk was
I don't know about that one.
Why does China need anything more than what they've got? He thinks it should work like it does with HRE's starting prelate. The resources that would have been used to create the IO would be detracted from the starting resources, but the initial 20-second wait while the IO is being created would be skipped. In the beginning of the game, Prelate's bonus 40% resource gathering is way more useful than the 20% bonus. The IO's production supervision can't come into play that early in the game, since it wouldn't be possible to sustain any sort of production that early. If HRE needed a free prelate in the beginning for balancing purposes, undoubtedly China does too. No. China matches up particularly poorly against HRE. No. China is bad against HRE for a reason, because that's the only civ that can smack China around. I refuse. I don't like it. One potential factor could amount the tempo that China loses having to make its IO. This person sounds like a China main who just really wants it to get better for them. Not to I might be hitting on China a little too hard, but they're already such a versatile civ. They're a hard civ for a reason. Right. If you can play them well, they are crazy good.
They're super good. I mean, especially I don't know how they are. I gotta look at the actual rankings, their win rate based off rankings. But I think gold, platinum, and diamond. I think China's difficult. If you're good with China, you really got a serious advantage. They can do so much. They can fight in any age. I think with the Imperial official, I think that little delay in the TC with making it first to go supervise or mill or something, I think that is a good way of keeping it balanced.
Well, because they're going to go 2 TC Song, and they're going to have, once they get to Song Dynasty, that's an extra 3rd TC. They're going to make that up anyways and more.
Exactly. They make up for it in the end.
Yeah. So they really do.
So they didn't have to make an IO. They just start off with one. You just got to just build a mill, and you don't got to wait. You just immediately get on villager production. Whew. And it sounds not that big of a deal, but that literally makes a difference.
China would become massively overpowered. I mean, China might be a little underpowered right now. They're frustrating to deal with, but they might be a little underpowered, but they'd be so overpowered with this change. They really would. And it doesn't sound like it would be because it's such a small thing, and someone made the argument that China gets to print these IOs out of a landmark in feudal. And then someone's like, well, they get them out of the regnate, prelates out of the regnates. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's castle age. That's a lot
also,
later.
IOs, you only get you're capped at 4.
5 if
you can make an infinite amount.
They serve different roles. IOs can speed up production. They can do so much more than a prelate.
Yeah, IOs can do a lot more. I mean, prelates is really influence. But IOs can also influence. They do basically it's almost the same thing. And technically, I feel like IOs have a higher reach than prelates because IOs supervise the actual, like the actual buildings. Equipment.
And stuff. They get the gold. Yeah, they.
Yeah.
IOs are
good.
They are the S tier unit. Yeah, we've already talked about it. We did this like months ago. They're S tier.
They're amazing.
Prelates have nothing
did I make them better? Pump that. They're good enough.
Yeah, they really are.
You can make them out of a landmark. So like you said, so actually tell you the truth, in the end, like once you upgrade to the Imperial Academy, it no longer affects your TC. You make them out of your landmark. So that's how they got a buff.
Yeah.
Because at first you couldn't do that.
All right, but so we don't like that. Hot take is too hot to handle. We don't like it.
Too hot.
We don't like it. Too hot. I got to simmer down. That's too out there. It sounds like someone who's a Chinaman who really wants an easier edge. So
it's kind of sounding like a little bit, yeah.
Alrighty. This is a good discussion question I really want to talk about. This is by Restless API. That's a great name. What are good benchmarks to aim for when trying to get out of the intermediate stages? If I'm not a noob, I can defeat AI hardest with relative ease, but I still have trouble understanding how to balance my economy. In StarCraft 2, if I was playing a solo game, I'd be able to max out with a decent mid-game army comp at 8 or 9 minutes with 60 plus workers. Say if I was Zerg, it would be 70 drones. I don't really care about StarCraft stuff. But basically he has some landmarks or guide marks of where he thinks he should be at. What is the equivalent in AoE 4? Should I be age 1, 2, 3, or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 by X minutes? How many workers? What should be the worker spread? How should I have siege by X minutes? I understand it's hugely dependent on Civ and matchup general strategy, but I'm just looking for a basic target to aim at first. I think this is a great question. I think it does matter on the Civ. But I do think there are some, and the matchup. I do think there are some general guidelines though we could at least come up with, right? For instance, I think by time, for instance, if by middle of the game, if you're going late game, if you are not hitting 100 villagers after like 30 minutes of game time, you might need to be working on something there, right? Overall, that's a very broad stroke I'm painting, but like in general, like you should be at 100 villagers, 100 military by 30 minutes in the game if you're going late game.
I think something a really good benchmark is not something to do even with like economy management. It's like a preparation. Like for example, like something I struggle with to this day, and I know like kind of a lot of like not newer, but like little lower. I would say lower ranked players, maybe from like plat down, like really keeping your scout active. Like that is something that, because a lot of times when you lose, you're just not prepared for what you like. For like say for example, you're going all in, or you are. Doing more of a, more of like a macro boomy build, and you're just kind of not leaving your base. You're just focusing solely on your economy, trying to get the castlate soon or something. And you have your scout either idle or just looking at parts of the map that are irrelevant. And you don't realize that your enemy has 4 production bases already. Like he's just massing up for you. Pretty much you're just collecting all the gold for the toughest guy on the block. Like he's going to just get you the moment you hit castle, he just goes all in on you and you just have like nothing to contend or not enough. Like I think a big benchmark is a really like, even at the shift click your scout down for a good amount. It's like always know what your scout is doing and trying not to lose them. And if you do, like just try to keep visibility. Something I've been doing a lot. Like try, this kind of funny saying this because I'm trying to hog the mic, but I've been talking to my brother. He's been playing a lot more, and I've been actually like, as much as I can, I'm not a pro, but like trying to coach him up. It's something he always struggles with. It's just like like macro over micro all day. He thinks that micro is like something that really wins games, and really not the case.
It's the macro.
Like, you make sure you have macro all day. Like you got to make sure you got villager production, and also you want to make sure you're not floating resources. Like my brother, like he plays the English and he's always floating wood.
Actually, that's a great one. I want to jump in here. Not having more than 1,500 of any resource unless you're saving to go up. Like actually, let's go even 1,000. Like you should not have 1,000 of any resource unless you're saving to go up. That's a good goal. Like that means that's good micro or a good macro if you're not stocking up for no reason, right? And even pros do that, especially like wood or stuff like that. Yeah, if you got 1,000 wood, spend it. Build production buildings. Do anything with it. Anything other than holding on to it. Yeah.
Have you watched pros macros though? Like it is like you watch them, you start realizing that's what you want to be at. Like
and when they start
pro players,
when they start floating wood, or so they start floating resources, that's when they start losing too. The moment they start floating something, you can see it, and that's when they start falling behind. Is when their macro starts slagging behind.
But like if you watch players like the top players like Beast Cutie, Marine Lord, dude, they could be 40, 50 minutes in the game and they don't go above 2,000 wood or something, which is like insane. Yeah. Like their APM is insane, but like you start realizing the importance of like keeping busy. Like, cause like you realize that if you're not spending it, it's like I'm not playing this game. I thought like having like 10,000 in the bank of gold was like dope. I'm like, y'all got 10,000. who wants gold, baby? I got everybody.
It's not like an investment. That. It's not getting interest.
Exactly. It's not.
It's like a government holding on to it and then getting it back in your taxes. It's like, well, wait a minute, I didn't get any interest on this.
Exactly. You don't build. There's no interest being built on it. Nothing. So we gotta realize if you're not spending it, you're pretty much wasting it. Like in this game, it's the first game. If you spend it, you're not wasting it. If you have like a lot of food and your TC's idle, or like a lot of food, you're not making any units, like that's where the macro comes into play. So really like before you even worry about how many workers to have, you know, where they should be at, because that's too I look at that as like just too broad. Like how many workers to have, where's your spread should be, because it all depends on what you're
depends on the Civs, really, the matchup.
All variable. Exactly. How many workers do you have? Did you keep hitting Q? Like, did you?
Is that line? Is there any flat lines in your TC line? Yeah. Exactly. I will say maybe for like age up time, like you can kind of get some, like for certain Civs, you can kind of say like you should be age 2 by about, unless you're like on a water map, like on a dry Arabia like kind of map, you should be hitting age 2 before 5 minutes to be moving on. Like really, that should be your goal.
See, for that, I think 8-3-3 is like a good way to always get feudal with any Civ.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to very much depend on the Civ. Each Civ has a bit different. But yeah,
true. Like even any Civ you play as, if you go 8-3-3, even with any like you will have a post 5 minute Imperial Age. I mean, I fought feudal age.
Yeah, you'll get there by 5 minutes.
Imperial be crazy. Yeah, exactly. But like I know a lot of time you get a new civilization, you try doing like what everyone else is doing, which is probably more efficient. But if you're new, trying to do something like you may not know the Civ too well, you try doing like you start realizing it'd be 5 minutes, you're not even like near feudal yet, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. So what do you think? Is like
any like benchmarks you really want to mention that you think we should talk about?
I mean, he's talking about having certain comps in StarCraft 2 by 8.5 minutes reliably, and that's just too late in Age of Empires. Because that is it's in AoE 4, everything, it's a slower game, but that also means like you have information and you can like tech switch with a little less investment than in StarCraft. So you're not trying to have anything by 8.5 minutes unless you're like Fast Castle HRE. What you're by 8.5 minutes, like you should have scouted your opponent and either like adapted your strategy or adapted your strategy at that point to whatever they're doing, to what the map is. But they're like feudal timings, that's fine because there's no real interaction with your opponent by that point. So it's like build order dependent.
Yeah.
What time should you hit this landmark? Yeah. Based on what build order you're using. So I don't know if there's like, you can't really do age or like a number of siege units by a certain amount of minutes because it's all variable based on what's going on in the current game.
Even if you play the same Civ every time too, like if you play HRE every single time, you're not always going to go men at arms. Sometimes knights are the better option. Sometimes, for instance, if I'm ever aging up against China in particular, I'll either go for spears or I'll go for horsemen. But it really depends on if they go horsemen or Jugunu. You know, I have to kind of wait and see and scout. I have to scout out what they're going for to try and counter their counter. Like it's a constant game of trying to pick the rock, paper, or scissors, the right one after your opponent starts choosing one, you know?
100%. Like, say you have a build order that you memorize to the T, and then one tower rush later, then you're like, wait a minute. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. But that's 8 on go, but you're killing my units on go. How much do not? Like, it's just like, then it's like, you got to like, that's what I think scouting is something that a lot of players, like, even including myself, that I'd get better with, because it allows you to, like, if you see your enemy is also booming with you, then you can go your standard mill how you had it planned out. But if you see playing as the Mongols and you see 4 horsemen on their way in Dark Age, then maybe you have to, like, what I'm saying, if you're playing as an adversary, get that weight on that stone or get it a little early or whatever you got to do. Like, that's what makes the game beautiful, that every game is different, and that, like, it's an information game. That, like, a lot of times, especially early game, you got to get information on your enemy. That's why you lose your scout. Lose your scout early is really critical, because now you're just playing blind. So yeah, I would, my answers be make sure you're scouting and making villagers. Yeah.
All right. Next Reddit post. We've only got a couple more left here. This one is by Zman2KO2. Is it worth building fishing ships in ponds only with a few coastal fish, no deep fish? This is something we see, I think, in pro games quite a bit on, like, Confluence or like Riverbed or something like that, where they have got little ponds with some fish. And I feel like this is a lot of the questions people ask are always like, well, it depends, right? Depends on the civ, depends on what you're doing. I think the trick with this is that when you're going on like small ponds, like, sometimes it can be worth building a dock. Sometimes, depending on your civ, it could be worth just putting up like a mill and just sending villagers out there. I guess the nice thing about having a dock, though, is if you're able to spend the wood, you get twice the production speed and more units, but you don't want to overdo it with a pond, right? I mean, how many would you guys? I don't think I'd ever build more than like 3 boats on like a pond. What do you guys think?
I think there's a difference. Oh, my fault. You can go, Bill. I've been talking.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I'm thinking Ancient Spires.
Yeah,
me too. That's what I was thinking.
When this question's posed, and I know I've tried it. I've tried docking. I've tried milling. I've tried going sheep and then the ponds later. A lot of people I've talked to at higher levels say, yeah, of course, dock the ponds, because you can produce villagers and fishing ships at the same time. But I always struggle with opening like that. It just throws off my opening build orders just a little too much. So you should be, but every time I do it, like, it turns out really poorly for me.
Yeah, I know this is a me
problem, but, like, the benefits are great, but you need to know the specifics, because you can't just go into it like a deep water game where you're going to consistently make fishing ships. So you have a target of a certain amount on wood.
Yeah. I think you got to go into the game plan on this, right? You got to probably calculate how much you're going to spend. You got to know, because I feel like on a full water map, you're all in on water, right? You got to be all in. Every little bit of wood you got is going into a ship. Like, you got to keep that production as constant as your villagers, because that's just fundamental. But on these smaller ones, you got to think about it as an investment. You're going to get like a limited investment, right? You're going to put in some resources and get a limited scope investment back, as far as return. So you got to think, like, how much are you going to get back? If I put like 7 fishing ships on a dinky little pond, it's going to eat up all those shoreline fish and not give me much benefit. I also got to keep in mind, I have to put in 150 wood to get a dock, and then 70, 75 wood, whatever it is, for fishing ships for most civs. You got to think about, like, okay, well, how much am I getting back? Is that really helping me? I think I agree. It's a tough, on that map in particular, Ancient Spires, it is a tough one. I don't usually build docks on that one. Maybe I should. I think I just would have to practice it and really learn, like, exactly how much of what I need. It's just going to be it's just a very different build order, you know?
If you ask me, I think they're 100% worth building docks on small ponds. Just don't overdo it, like you guys said, because like I mean, each boat is worth 4 villagers. Like, if you like build a mill on the water, your villagers return 10 food. But if you build a fishing boat, it returns 40. So like, pretty much like, so like, just boats just return more. But yeah, like you said, though, you can't overinvest, though, because you're going to eat away. Like, because like even the Reddit post, he said, do they respawn? Do coastal fish respawn? And they don't respawn. So you have to, like, be careful. But it is worth it, especially for that early game boost. You will outboom your enemy with food if you have your dock. If they go mill and on the water, and you go dock, like, and they got just like a couple vills. Because, I mean, no matter what, it still gets drained, whether it's villagers or boats. But, that boat has had, it's expensive with wood. It's a little more expensive, but it's almost like a little kind of like secondary TC, like an early second TC that just almost on a time limit. because these boats, like, if you look at the boat's return gathering rate, it's 40 food, and a villager to a meal, or even a dock is 10. So so the boat is, if you can get in your build order smoothly and maybe not overproduce, or like really kind of be conscious of what you're doing, maybe just like 3 or 4 boats per pond, you will get like a huge boost to start. But it doesn't, but obviously doesn't scale as well, because eventually you're going to just eat through it and it doesn't respond. Yeah. So I think it is worth it, but it's not like an all water.
Yeah,
map,
you're not going all. I think that's the case. You're not going all in. You're just going like 3 or 4 at most, and you just got to be very aware of that.
Exactly, I agree.
Alrighty, the next one. This is the last post I had. I like this question of this one, and it's just by Leon 18th. I think we've already mentioned his name once here. Very prevalent on Reddit, it seems. And he says, time disappearance of corpses. This was 3 days ago. It's a poll. So should the time disappearance for the corpses after battles increase to a minute, increase to 2 minutes, increase to 3 minutes? Should the bodies just never disappear? Or is it okay right now? Or should we give them to the necromancer? I want evil zombies to walk above the earth. I like this idea. I liked it. That's
my favorite voice you used right there. I was like, I like that voice. What was that? That was the perfect way to use that. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt you.
No. I was just saying, I liked it. One thing I do feel like is that the bodies kind of disappear a little bit fast. I always kind of wished after like really big monumental battles, there'd be like some kind of like little like flower arrangement that popped up, or some kind of memorial, like especially after you age up or something. I think it'd be kind of fun to have the bodies stay a little bit longer. Sometimes it feels like they disappear kind of quick. Like to the point where sometimes you hear something die and you look over and you can't even tell where it died because it's already gone, A
little tombstone right there.
Yeah, I think an extra minute or two would be nice just to kind of see.
Me too. Only thing I wonder with that is like within that, like not everybody's PC can handle all that.
Yeah.
That's something from a technical aspect. Like, I mean, of course, us big wigs, us top dogs over here, we're good. We're doing great.
Yeah,
we can handle it. But like, some people play on like, no, and I'm being funny to say that, but like, respect. Some people play on like, laptops or like, not as powerful rigs. So I don't know if it can handle all, like, you got battles with 100 units. And eventually, you can have battles where there's like 400 bodies, which on either side can be like 800 bodies pile up. Man, I feel like you can run some technical difficulties where we have another crashing apocalypse on our hand, and then everybody's on Reddit and this game's broken. He told you.
This would be, I think, a really fun mod to have that was built into the game that you could, toggle that on, toggle some extra little animations like that. I think that'd be the best way to do it. Any thoughts on that, Beale? What do you think? Are you a leave him there forever kind of guy? You just get him off the map?
I don't think Beale's a fan of it at all.
Do we lose Beale? Beale, come back.
We lose AoE.
Oh no! My microphone was muted.
We're like, he's not a fan of it at all. He said, honestly, I think the game should have no bodies at all. I think the game shouldn't have death.
Yeah, no. I mean, I really don't care either way. I know a lot of people have been asking for this since like release, because other RTS games and stuff like that will leave skeletons on the field, so you can sort of see where battles have been over the course of the game. But I don't care. I don't care about dead bodies on the ground. That's not why I'm playing the game. It has literally no impact on me. If you like that, if it's immersive for you, that's cool. But really,
Beale's a purist. He's a purist. You're a purist.
It'd be funny if it was ragdoll effects. That'd be beautiful.
I mean, have you seen the Abbasid villager dying? Have you ever seen a villager Abbasid die? It kind of is.
Dude, I'm talking about like if a great bombard hits us a wood line, you see 60 ragdoll villagers fly across your TV.
It would be kind of cool if you could see more of an impact. Sometimes I wish the bombard had more of an impact.
Age of 3 had ragdolling for like big explosive things.
That'd be kind of fun. For the Great Bombard, man, I was watching Call to Arms today. I was watching Call to Arms, and someone was, I think it was Lucifron, or someone was using I watched that. Had the Great Bombards just shooting people down, and it was like, man, like they just kind of fall over. But it'd be hilarious if like one of them just flew up and like had like an arm or leg flying off. Like it'd be so funny. Like it needs something, because those things hit so hard.
Or just go fully M-rated and make a red mist.
A red mist. Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. Just go full in. It's like, the new expansion, by the way, you have to be 17 in order to play it because we are now. Has that ever happened before where they just want to go mature midway through the production cycle? Like, actually,
maybe
this looks awesome. We just made all these people explode. We got extra violent during the development cycle.
All the queens are now like the most popular.
All the queens now are the most popular unit ever, just to get the red mist.
Oh, just red mist going across the screen. Then it like a little bit splashed on the camera. I said, what game am I playing? What happened? This is like oddly disturbingly.
Too good.
Hey, but that would be that's an update. I'm down for that. Let's go.
Alrighty, that is my last one. I was gonna have the last Reddit post be our AstroTurf post from Caleb Kalmari about how great we are, but I already mentioned that, so we got it right. Our guesses are good.
Awesome.
You're here. If you're listening, you know about how good we are. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll wrap today's episode up with some extra sheep. Hello, this is Socerton again. I didn't get to talk to you all one-on-one last time because it was the live episode. So I'm back. I just want to shout out again, Sir Nevels and Beale for taking the reins and doing that live podcast while I was gone. I was out in Disneyland having a great time, and it's been really cool to see them, step up to the plate and really run this thing with me. When I started it was kind of me starting to show off, and I still do I think a good chunk of the work to get this thing edited and posted and stuff. But they really stepped up and they've been a huge help. I really could not do this thing without them at this point. They have become definitely integral parts of this podcast, each in their own right. So just gotta put huge praise on them. They're such great guys. Again, this is the part of the show where I get to just chat real quick with you guys, do some housekeeping, do some business for the podcast. Podcast is doing great. I'd like to tell everyone it's doing pretty good for just being a small little run thing that we have here. Let's see. If you haven't joined the Griat Bara for some strange reason at this point, you really should. If you're listening by chance, and I gave you guys a shout out if you are. If you're listening to this episode because you were part of the big EGC TV raid, welcome in again. Thank you so much for listening to this point. I'm really curious to hear if any of you guys discovered us through that, and if you're sticking around. We do have a Discord for the podcast. It's just my personal my personal streaming Discord that I've got a channel. Pretty much, it's just basically the podcast Discord at this point. There's a link to that in the description of this episode. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, there is a link to the description. So definitely check it out. Check out the Griat Bara Discord as well. Great community server on Discord if you want to find guys to play team games with. There's right now it's 11:36 Pacific time, and I can see that looks like there's at least 2 guys right now in a team game together. I can see in the channel that there's always someone hanging out. So if you're looking for someone to play with, that's definitely the place to go, and they're pretty accepting of almost anyone at any level. Besides that, I'll do my quick shout out for Rising Empires as well. Weekly tournaments. Even if you're low level, like gold, silver, platinum, doesn't matter. They've got tournaments ready to go. They're always looking for more players. It's free. It takes up most of your Saturday, but it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend doing it at least once if you haven't done it. Once or twice. It feels really good when you start getting to the final rounds and you do really well. Or if you're actually really good at the game, better than I am, and you actually want to start, racking up some points, try and get competitive. If you're actually really thinking about doing this thing full time, being a really competitive guy, the War Chief Club is also run by Rising Empires. Highly recommend you join that. You get on that. Great way to get some of those points, get into those bigger tournaments later. And they cast them. They look at them. That's a great way to rub shoulders with the best of the best. Besides that, we have a Patreon. Definitely please support us. We love having support from our peeps. I still have some coasters left and some stickers I'd love to mail out. But I'd love to get them off my desk. That'd be great. If you want them, they're yours for the taking. Just become a Discord Patreon member. And yeah, I'll send them out. Besides that, big shout out to everyone who has supported. We do have extra bonus content on there. And yeah, I think that's everything I've got. I want to reiterate, I do think this podcast is doing a really good job of where it's at. We've kind of plateaued in our listenership. So we've kind of gotten a solid base. There's about 400 plus of you, around 450 of you guys who listen weekly. which I think is excellent. I mean, for a video game like as niche as this one that we have, that's pretty awesome. I know there's a lot more people who maybe would be interested and maybe just haven't heard of us. So I know we could grow a little bit more. I'm not, going to say push down everyone's throats by any means. But if anyone wants to be a champion of the podcast and start spreading that good old word of mouth, by all means, feel free to link us and send us and, shout us out to the heavens, right? We'd love to have you guys continue to support that. In fact, big shout out to Sherman. He's been a huge supporter of the podcast in that regard, both in regards to being a Patreon member, and he's always just posting about us in people's chats. He's always mentioning us. He's always in our chats when we stream. He's probably one of the biggest fans of the show. So big shout out to you, Sherman. We're thinking about you right now. I haven't seen you in a while. It's been a while since I've been streaming because I was on vacation. So besides that, I guess I'll just send you guys back for the extra sheeps. So thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of your show. And we're back here for our extra sheeps.
Such a long break.
Yeah, it was a really long break. We took a long time. I took a walk. It was nice.
Yeah, it took a walk.
Let's start with the bottom. We'll start with the bottom on my list. I have Caleb. He's not here, so we'll go to Sir Nevels. Let's hear your extra sheep today.
All right. So once again, my extra sheep. It's not really so much like something I've learned, because I don't learn because I'm not that smart person. So I'm gonna go with something. I'm gonna go with my input. I think would be great for this game, and I feel like eventually it's gonna come. I feel like I can't even rule this out. I'm just kind of getting ahead of it once again. I won't call it a hot take, but I feel like I just want to get ahead of it. So when this does come, I can say I said it. So I've been playing a lot with my blood brother. Great man. His name is Commander Cornbread or Commander Conqueror, Cornbread Conqueror. So yeah, that's so I've been playing a lot with him. A lot of team games lately. This is probably the most team games I've played than any other season, because I'm playing a lot with him. And one thing I realized that I think would do very well in this game, and I think AoE 2 has it also, is that this game needs Civ team, bonuses for team games. So like some type of bonus where it affects your teammates also. Because if you look at it, this game, I mean, like in the Discord that I run, air quote, most people in there play team games. I mean, I can go in there pretty much anytime I see the chat lobbies filled up, everyone's in team games, they're playing 2v2, 3v3s. That is almost more popular than the 1v1. And AoE IV has a big team game scene. So, I think that there needs to be, with either this expansion or some kind of future update, where they make it to where every single Civ has a little asterisk at the bottom where they also introduce what their team bonus is. So, HRE, when they, you can also, you can, with the Aachen Chapel, you can your buddy can set up a meal near your Aachen Chapel and he can also return, or just something to where, and I don't know if that's a thing. That's not a thing. Anyway, okay, but anyway, we've had our own little makeshift team strategies, with the they call it the cow boom, when HRE and Malians the mods are dropping off cows at the Aachen Chapel, which giving them more food.
Oh,
then that was a thing. That was actually very strong. Very strong. He got nerfed, actually.
Kind of like my idea I had ages ago for having Mongols just get a bunch of sheep pastures for the French or something like that and just help them.
And that's actually a thing. You can do that. I mean, you can build pastures near the, I don't see, it's crazy I don't see it that much, but say the, late game and the Mongols have a bunch of wood, they can make a bunch of pastures near the English and have those sheep just spawn out. The ones that are near the French base, just have them spawn to the French TC, and then the French just claim them once they're near. I'm pretty sure you can do that. I've never seen them before.
The problem is late game, you need all those sheep for yourself, because then
exactly,
then you can only have, I think only 20. You can only have up to 20 something or something like that.
Yeah, there's team strats in the game, but there's nothing that is hard cover, hard set in stone print. This is a team bonus. I mean, you got Mongols that go on trade, and it'll just pretty much fun. That's probably games that are 3v3, 4v4s, where Mongols will go insane on trade and have literally so much gold, and the rest of the team will just they're just fun. They'll be they'll be like Batman to the Justice League. Like they'll just fund everything. They'll just put gold in everyone's pocket, keep them going forever. So that's like makeshift team strats. But like, there's actually civilization bonuses in the game. I believe that team games, like, I believe they'll increase the player base, because a lot of big games out here, like, are team oriented. Like, pretty much everyone is team oriented. It's not very many big 1v1 games. And I prefer 1v1. I don't know what you guys feel about that. I know maybe it's a bigger discussion later, but like, I don't know what you guys feel like there's actual team bonuses with every Civ.
I think there's a lot of merit for that, just to shake it up, because only so many like English and French pre-made 2v2s that you like run into on the ladder with like specific strategies.
Exactly.
Because the Civ designs by themselves they feel like they're designed around 1v1s. Yeah. So when you bring it into a 2 versus 2 or whatever environment, they still are playing like a 1v1. But if you add those team bonuses, now there's incentive to pick Civs that may not be as strong in a team environment. Leads to a lot more like cool synergy between bonuses and different Civs. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and listen, I think it's eventually going to come, because I think they're looking at how popular team games are, and like, especially like the team tournaments, and just like, I think there's only one EGC team tournament, but I think still 1v1 is like still the premier way to play the game, but there's
it would definitely liven up 2v2s by quite a bit, I think.
Yeah,
I agree.
2v2s, 3v3s, everything, and I think that it'll make. So I don't players who strictly play team. I know a lot of people who strictly play team games. They don't play 1v1s at all. So when the 1v1s become more enticing to them, people that have left the game that have played just team games might come back, because like it'll allow you like almost game plan. We go Abbasid and Ottoman, team strats, because Abbasid complement Ottomans in this way, Ottomans complement Abbasids, and so forth on. So yeah, I believe that's my extra sheep. It's just, I think there needs to be implemented a team game bonus. And just a little bonus extra sheet. They need also a freaking in-game leaderboard. That's something I've been talking about for so long, dude.
Surprising thing not to have in the game at this point.
This game is so important.
They just need to write a big fat check to AoE IV World and just have that pop, and just like have that stream in. Like, just have like a little insert like website in their like the game, and just pop that in. They deserve a huge check for all they do.
Get them on the payroll, because they're doing they're literally doing so much of Microsoft's work.
It really shows how much the community has come to make this game what it is. A lot of this is, I hope there's some kind of, it'd be nice if at some point they do some kind of recognition for community people like that. Because there's a lot of, this game thrives because of us in a lot of ways. Now, I mean, the devs do their job very well, but you gotta admit, like, the community is what really keeps this thing going.
While they were silent, picking their boogers, we were ones out here keeping it good. We were going. Exactly. Okay. No, I'm scared. I respect Wildlife developers a lot. They're nice. But anyway, yeah. I really feel like, they need to start shouting some people out, especially Rising Empires. Like, man, how many community managers are there? Not that many, I don't think, actually. They need to start shouting these out, like, good luck kind of keeping things afloat while we were in the shadows. Apparently the biggest expansion ever.
In the shadows.
In the shadow. I can't. That's my. I try to do the same voice, my own natural voice. That was hard. Okay, that's me though.
All right, what you got, Beale? What's your extra sheep today?
It's about the fact that when you're playing in this strategy game, it's good to choose one strategy to stick to it instead of sort of half-assing a bunch of multiple strategies. I was casting low ELO Legends earlier this week, and there were a bunch of losses that came down to people not being able to commit to one strategy and trying to do multiple things. Because you do have your like standard 3, like, what are you doing in Feudal Age? Are you doing feudal aggression? Are you doing 2 TC boom or multiple TC boom, whatever? Or are you doing like fast castle and getting the castle as fast as you can? And so I was watching this game where HRE builds their Aachen, goes to stone, and is just like, oh yeah, all right. Looks like they're going to do an HRE 2 TC opening. And they mine like 200 stone and then immediately pull those miners, drop 2 barracks, and then try to do feudal age aggression against Abbasid by sending just a bunch of men-at-arms down. And Abbasid had a scout, like, saw the 2 barracks in feudal and made like 3 camel archers and basically just shut down all of HRE's feudal aggression while they were able to defend and then boom themselves. But if HRE had just stuck to like, okay, I'm going to build 2 TCs, they would have had their second TC up much earlier, and they wouldn't have lost all that investment into food and gold because of their strategy switch, not from anything that they scouted out. But they're like, I'm going to do TCs, but also going to try to do some feudal aggression at the same time. It's definitely something I've been called out on before, of just like, you're trying to do so many different things.
That reminds me of
halfway going to castle while you're in feudal and you've got people on stone for a second TC. What are you doing? You're failing at everything.
It's really nice when you got a really passive opponent. When you have a really passive opponent that lets you get away with it, that always feels really good. But that reminds me, Beale, of Karate Kid, where Mr. Miyagi is like you gotta choose one side of the road or the other side. If you go in the middle, you get squished like grape. That's exactly what that reminds me of.
No, Bill, listen, Bill, what you just said, I'm gonna literally just audio record that and send it to my brother. Oh my Lord. I've been trying to tell him that this guy try to go 3 TCs, castle, raid. I'm like, dude, just pick something, man. Just pick what you want to do and go for it. He's like, this, and he'll end up it's either be the ace of one trade or be the jack of just be good at one thing or mediocre at a lot of things. It's it always just, really always just backfires on you. So I hear exactly what you're saying with that.
Yep. Pick something and do it and have that be your strategy in the game. And I don't mean if you're not going for feudal aggression, you don't always want a naked 2 TC or naked fast castle.
Yeah.
Do build units to defend, but if you are trying to go
make a choice,
sending units out to harass at the same time, and pumping a bunch into military to the point that it super delays your second TC. What did you get out of this? You probably get your military wiped and then a slower second TC. Good job.
Yep. Yeah, and it's hard to manage too. It's a lot on your mind. It's you gotta focus on a lot of things too. So yeah, I agree with you. Focus on one thing.
Yep.
All right. I guess it leaves me with my last, or not my last, but I guess I am last today, but this is not my last ever extra sheet. Not by a long shot. Yeah. My extra sheet today is I played one game a couple days ago. Played one game. I was playing other games. I was like, I'm going to hop over and do one. It was a slog of a game. But basically it was on Golden Heights. I was HRE on the north side. My opponent was, were they English? Yeah, English on the south side. And normally he who wins water wins the game, right? And we have said that there is a window where that's not always the case. You got a window where you can maybe make that turn around. This was an interesting game. I think my opponent kind of got a little bit passive at one point, but I went off to water. We both were using water to get up to castle a bit faster. This guy committed hard. He doubled up on water with 2 docks. I tried doing the same. We had a small naval engagement. He eventually won. He produced a ton of archer ships and hulks. I just couldn't compete anymore. I wasn't willing to put in that much to stay on water. I just really wasn't, because I was like, there's only 3 deep sea pawns. I know it's big, but I really wanted to get the castle age before he did. And I just wasn't really willing to put every single thing I had because I knew I would just lose because he already had an edge. So I actually gave up full stop on water. Once I realized I was done, I did as much damage as I could, pulled completely back, and I just focused on castle. Got up to castle pretty fast. And then I did something I don't normally do. I went and got the relics like I normally do. But the thing I don't normally do is I don't normally take a ton of map control with HRE. But that's exactly what I did. Took up a bunch of map control, got the middle sacred site secured, all the gold that was on the upper Golden Heights area, all that, most of the gold veins were mine. I had all that. And then I ended up just having so much resources from all the gold. And I was doing pretty good on my food economy with my farm transition. That I wasn't able to get a huge military, but I had enough to kind of hold that I actually went Imperial Age really fast instead. And this is where I was a little worried because we had a bit of a skirmish and I was holding off. My opponent should have just all in right then. They didn't. They had a narrow window to catch up to me because I started feeling more military after this. But there's kind of a window, where you're kind of vulnerable when you age up to Imperial. And I was like, I'm going to go for it because I know his eco is better than mine. I have to get that Palace of Swabi out. And it is cheaper for me to do that as it's a cheaper landmark. The cheapest way to Imperial. I did that, started printing Vils, and then he went Imperial. And I was kind of thinking, okay, crap, like this is not good because he had the Berkshire in the south side. And he had himself a White Tower on the lower left side in the middle of the map. So I couldn't go down south down that way because he had the White Tower. My military was kind of holding up by my by the sacred site on the upper middle of the map. So I ended up just kind of going to this really long slog. And normally late game Imperial English is hard to beat. But man, the power of mangoes, guys. The power of a good mango shot.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Oh my goodness. I had a couple of rough engagements, but then I had a couple of I just started going really heavy into siege because he wasn't. And I just was so I won the game. It was really because I just took a couple of really good fights and my macro was really good for the most part. But yeah, so my big takeaway though was that it is possible to do a couple of things. One, it's possible to win Golden Heights while losing water. Secondly, it's possible to beat English and Imperial Age as well, especially when you're kind of battling back from behind. And I think it helped. I do think it helped that he was a little bit passive. He kind of turtled up just a little bit, but he didn't do a good job. He was at 1 TC and he used water. Eventually I got him off water by burning his docks down, and he had no contingency plan whatsoever when I took map control. So yeah, so you can take map control with HRE. You can win on Golden Heights without water, and you can beat Imperial Age English. That was my extra sheet. It is possible. You just got to be on your A game.
I think that's a beauty to the actual map itself. Like, Golden Heights is like the type of map. There's the hybrid map to where like if you just unfortunately can't secure water, it's not like an instant GG or like it's not like, oh man, I gotta like come from so far behind now. Like I have overly focused on water on Golden Heights and just forgot about the land and got swarmed. Like it's just Golden Heights, like shout out to Bitterland. We had him on here talking about it, but yeah, I say it's one of my favorite maps on the whole map. This ranked map queue.
Shout out to what you just said. It was really one of the best, funnest, most interesting, and it was like an hour game, hour and 10 minutes. Like it was a slog to get there because it went Imperial, and I really was kind of battling back. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I had never seen that done very often. Like I don't think I've seen very many lose water win Golden Heights.
I mean, that's the map for it for losing water, still winning, because there's only 3 nodes of deep sea fishing, and if you can take map control like you did in the middle and choke your opponent out of gold, because all the gold is in the middle, so the map opens up like the objective is to take the pond and or potentially go to feudal first and then destroy their docks and force your opponent off of water. But like once the pond is kind of settled, and then it turns into, okay, who can take the massive gold that's in the middle? Because if you can't take that like upper left corner with the neutral market, then you just completely choke your opponent from gold and will eventually win over attrition.
Yeah, it was a really interesting game. And again, I think he was playing kind of passively a little bit, but there was something else I was going to mention about it too that was just very different. I'm forgetting right now, but yeah, it was a very interesting game. It's just well made. And the fact that it's the only hybrid map you can really do that with, it really, well, maybe not the only, but I think the fact that I made him overcommit to water, like he had a lot of boats on the water. I think it slowed him down. And once I went up in age, I think he thought he was trying to catch up because there's only so much to get out of those 3 ponds of water for food. So I just made him overcommit for it. I really did. Like I hit his military really hard on the water. And then it was kind of that time where we both rebuild. He rebuilt massively. And I was like, I'm not going to win this. And so I kind of backed off. And then he just had all these warships that he couldn't use because he rebuilt really fast. And I think that was his mistake, because he just didn't know what to expect from me, and I was able to give up and transition. So yeah, and
a lot of pop space too with those warships. I've done that before.
Yeah,
like you forget about you're like, why I only have like 20 ground troops, and you got like just You got like 40 idle attack ships on the water. You've already won. Yep. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's a good reason why. But yeah, that makes sense though. GG to you. I'm proud of you, Socerton.
Yeah, it was good. It's like one of the ones like I want to have someone review it, but it's also an hour and 10 minutes, so I don't think anyone will.
Nothing better than a good hour and 10 game.
It was a good hour and 10 game. You know, it was really good. Yeah. Taking map.
You guys' hand getting numb after like an hour? Because I'm gonna go to the doctor. Something's not that weird. That's happened to me a lot lately. Like my right hand, like my pinky and like maybe ring tingly? Finger. Yeah, they get a little tingly.
What you need, here's an extra sheet. What you need is some kind of better mouse pad. You got to get one that's got a cushion. That'll help you a ton.
Yeah, I've been so I have a keyboard pad. Maybe I need get
one for your mouse. I've got one that's got like a cushion on there. I did the same thing because when you're resting on the edge of your desk, that edge on the desk is going to cut off circulation, and that's going to get those extremities start losing blood.
Okay. So, yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, see, look at that. This is why I see, call him Dr. Sock.
People, when I was out in the islands of Kiribati, that was kind of a joke as I had a lot of working, not that I'm very medical minded, but like I know a lot of things like that. And so, yeah. I'll take it.
We got OT Bill and Doc Sock. I like nicknames. There we go.
Doc Sock.
I like the nicknames. OT Bill and Doc Sock.
Hello, Peter.
I'll take both of them. Now I'm never calling you by your real name ever again. So there you go.
That's great.
There you go. Hey, that's how I'm looking into that. Like I'm gonna be on Amazon right after you get this podcast.
Yeah, dude, like $10, you can get a great one. It saved my life. I had the same problem like 2 years ago, and it saved me. So.
I was ready to amputate right then and there on the spot. I was like, well, this is gone now. I got to get rid of this.
Alrighty, guys. This has been the Extra Sheep. It's been good. I'm glad to be back. I missed my first one last time. It was so weird. We will be doing more live episodes eventually, I think. That
was a good time.
We'll chat. But for now, for everyone listening, thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a good rest of your week.
Just look at EGC's schedule. That's when we'll go.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about the Call to Arms and how that's been going on. We'll do a recap of some of that next week or next time.
Yeah, it's still going on. We can still recap it.
Definitely catch them live though. They've been, I think, on Saturday and Sundays, right?
Yep.
Watch them. They're fun. It's good. Keep the community going.
It's a good time.
All right. See you guys.
All right. See you later.
Two eggs, a bagel, and a sausage walk into a bar. Bartender, my friends and I would like a cold one, says one of the eggs. Sorry, the barman replies. We don't serve breakfast.